Oh. Oh.
I brought a balloon with me.
I thought we had a floating balloon in here. That scared me, but it's just on your hand.
No, it's not floating. It's
Get out of here, balloon. So what are we doing?
Oh,
by the way, hi. Welcome to us again.
I just brought that balloon because We're going to talk about It.
Oh.
Yeah.
I get it now.
And there's balloons in that movie.
Clowns and balloons.
Yeah, they're red balloons.
That's a blue balloon.
We're rebels.
Hey, Alpha Rookie's here again, and we're going to be doing another movie discussion because...
These are easy to do, and we saw the movie anyway, and we were going to talk about it anyway.
No, partially. A lot has happened. Dark Tower came out, It came out, George Romero died, so we just had a lot of movie stuff that kind of has been happening the last month. So we've been doing a lot of, movie discussion stuff. We're still doing still doing scripted content. This stuff has been coming up lately, so we're doing it. So anyways, we're here. We're talking about the new movie It, the It miniseries from 1990, and the Stephen King's novel It, which was made some year that I don't remember. We're going to kind of...
80s probably, right? I would imagine.
I'll read probably before that.
It's Sunday night, so...
Not for you guys. Sunday
not
night
for you.
us.
This is a Sunday after it has been released in theaters, and it's currently sitting at like $120 million or something like that. So
domestically, at least.
It's had a very big opening. It's clearly successful on a financial wavelength.
Surprised. I was really surprised. I did not think it was going to be that big. Looks like 1986?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Which is 2 years, I think, before this current iteration takes place. I think it takes place in 88.
Oh, okay, yes, yeah.
Not that makes any difference.
I think about real-world dates. So, yeah.
Right.
So, just to show, okay, so my favorite book of all time is It. I've only read it once. I've tried to read it 4 times. And what that means is if you see this book, this is an old book. I've had this book for like 15 years, maybe more. I think I got it when I was like 14 or 15, or I got it from like my cousin or something, like a hand-me-down. And I tried reading it. I got like 100 pages in, and I gave up on it because it's not... The first 200 pages, if I remember, at least 100 pages, is not the kids, it's not the adults. It's a completely different story in Derry. It's about a homosexual guy who gets beaten up and thrown over the bridge.
Yeah, I heard about this in one of the reviews.
So I was like, where's the...
Is that the murder that kind of sets off the current day?
They see the clown when they throw him over the bridge, and the boyfriend also sees it. So for some reason, I just was like, couldn't get into it because I didn't know, like, where's the... I think I'd already seen the miniseries at this point, and I wanted to, like, read the book, and then I did whatever. So did that. A couple years later, tried reading again, got like 50 pages, got too busy. Tried again, got like 20 pages in, got too busy, and then finally, about 8 years ago, at the old job we had, where there's a lot of reading time, I was on my Stephen King shit after reading Dark Tower. I was like, I'm going to read It now. And then I read it.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I was like, this is easily my favorite book of all time. But again, only one reading, but it is my number one. So I don't remember everything in it because it's been a while. But it's definitely like the most impactful thing in my life besides Dark Tower.
Well, full disclosure, I've never read the book. So my point of view will be from somebody who has... I think I saw the TV movie a long time ago, and I can't even remember in what context.
On TV?
I don't think so. I think I watched it like on DVD.
On a TV?
No, I watched it...
I got a portable DVD player, not even a TV. Shit, yeah.
And I watched it again recently. I watched it last week before the new movie came out, per your recommendation. And also, I read the original script by Cary Fukunaga, which, if you don't know anything about that, I guess I'll talk about it later. So I have some perspective on some kind of interesting aspect, and you do too, and it's very different things.
Just the idea of me being like loving this book. So like, I have the book, I have the DVD, I even have the fucking Blu-ray. So I have 3, and this was fucking expensive when this came out. It's only been out for about maybe 6 months, and when it came out, no one was carrying it. Like, it was released, but the only way they were selling it was like a $50 special edition that came with a T-shirt. And I was like, I don't give a fuck about a shirt.
Yeah.
And so you couldn't find the regular $20 edition or whatever it was. And I think I had to track it down from like Best Buy's website, have them like ship it, or no, from like some random Blu-ray. I can't remember where I got it from. But I remember people were going crazy like, why can't I fucking buy this? It's out now, but I can't find it anywhere. And it wasn't that it was out and it was sold out. They were only shipping the TV shirt editions. Mm-hmm. And people were like, oh, fucking shirts? Why? You know?
So I'm actually surprised there's not... I feel like from my conversations with people and there's a lot of nostalgia for this movie.
Yeah.
I was at work today. I talked to a couple of customers, and a lot of people I don't think have read the book that are our age. I think more people remember this.
Yeah, and it's weird because there's a commentary on this, or the same one on both, but it's got almost a whole cast, but they're not all there at the same time. So it's like...
a lot of people in one room.
No, it's like one person for like 15 minutes.
Oh, I see.
And then like these three people together for like 15 minutes.
Because I'm not going to sit down for 3 hours. So
I think there was one that I can't remember. I can't compare it to, but I was thinking about there's another one. There's commentaries like that where it's like, oh, they're not all together.
Okay.
They recorded these separately, and they didn't. I don't even know if they watched the whole thing or if they just kind of picked the parts they liked or whatever. So that's the only special feature on there, as far as I know. Yeah, but yeah.
I don't know how you want to...
Go get it. And now the 2017 It, so...
Do you want to just, like, you talk about it and then I talk about it kind of thing?
So, I'm kind of... Okay, there's going to be spoilers, obviously. When we do these things, there's spoilers.
We're assuming that you've already seen at least one of these things that we're talking about.
I'm going to go out on... I'm going to make a hypothesis here. Especially judging by the people that the theater was, like, sold out when I saw it today. Stephen King's It is probably his most famous work. I mean, people know Pet Sematary, but neither read it or seen it. They know of it, or Cujo, or Christine or Carrie. They've heard it, but they probably not actually watched it, read it, whatever. Pennywise the Clown, the Red Balloon, the idea of it seems to be in the mainstream, the thing everyone knows about.
I think because of this TV movie.
Right. And I think probably a lot of people have seen that because it's been around for long, and you have your older audience that probably watched it when it was on, Mm-hmm. But I would say, even though it's like his most popular work and most like known, I'm gonna guess that not very many people have read the book. Even people who are like Stephen King fans, not the hardcore fans, obviously they have, but people who are like into his works, his movies or whatever, the book is not something people read. Dark Tower, not many people I've actually ran into have ever read it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of one of the things that the book is its own thing. It's a huge thing. So with that said, the idea that this new movie is just the kids section. So when the movie ends, the new one, right when right before the credits come up, it's like, It.
Chapter 1.
And people are like, Chapter 1?
Yeah, because nobody knows.
So
you should say then, just in case you haven't read the book.
Right.
But if you've seen the TV series, I guess it's still evident. But the way it's structured is through flashback, right? It goes back and forth between adulthood and childhood.
And that's something we'll talk about with the new one, whether or not that was a good idea or bad idea to only do the kid stuff. But just so you know, the movie that came out now is the kid version. Now they're going to go shoot the adult version, and that'll come out 2019 probably.
Yeah, I mean, it's like...
Oh, I don't even want to get into this. So when it comes to spoilers, do we talk about...
Oh, spoiler, this movie hasn't come out yet? This
kind of,
sequel?
because the original TV miniseries and the book, like you said, flashbacks, they take place concurrently back and forth.
I think it's probably a good idea for us to stick to
the kids
just
stuff
the stuff that happened in the new movie. Yeah, just in case.
Okay, so we won't...
And in that sense, when we talk about the TV movie, we could just talk about, you know what I mean? The stuff that's analog to that.
It's really hard, though, because they literally take place back and forth.
I know, we have to just try to cut and paste.
Sometimes...
And then some of the stuff, they're not actually... They're scenes from the second half of the book because they're memories that the adults are having that were not brought up in the first half of the story.
Like, they're not even seen as kids. It's they talked about it, and then they flash back to what happens afterwards. Right. So, like, this movie has all the things happening. You see everything.
Yeah.
The TV miniseries, some stuff you wouldn't have seen, you might have heard the adults talking about that part. So, there's spoilers. We'll not spoil the end of what the next movie will be, but, you know.
Okay.
We're going to swing it here. It's going to be kind of weird, but we're trying not to do the whole book. But at least the kid stuff, you know, if you haven't seen the movie yet or read it, then turn this off and come back or something.
Do you want to go first?
So where do we... So
I think it'd be more fair for you to go first.
Let's just do the comparison with...
Because I don't want to, like, have an argument or conversation yet. I kind of want you to just talk, and then I'll talk.
So let's just get...
more people are hearing my side right now than your side.
Let's just ground it with, we're going to cover the new movie as we go through that, and then we'll cut to, like...
Kind of talk about our opinions first, and then...
No. So like I'm not going to talk about the TV miniseries and talk about the book. We're going to talk about the new movie, and then the scenes that might have been different from the other things, or which one was better or whatever. Yeah. But we're going to structure this as here's the new movie's plot, and as we go through those plot points, we'll kind of go back to the other. But we're not going to go, hey, the book does all these things, and the TV says all this, and the movie does all this. We'll keep it around the movie, basically.
All right. Good deal.
So, number 1 point. Did you like the movie?
That's why I asked you, do you want me to start?
You can start. Say, did you like the movie?
I love the movie. I love the movie.
Now, I've been wanting to see an It remake for a long time.
That's a strong word. I enjoyed it a lot. I can't think of anything I didn't. It's been replaying in my head. I'll need to watch it. I want to go and see it again. I'll probably try to see it next week. I'll let you know when I love it. But right now, I just thought I really enjoyed it.
So, the TV miniseries, how do you feel?
I think it's fine. I think it's fine. I have zero nostalgia for it, like none. Because I didn't remember much about it, but it is still a Stephen King thing. I still enjoy it. The only thing that I'm really like if I was gonna watch it again, you know how you go back and you just watch your favorite parts?
Yeah.
I would probably just watch Tim Curry.
That's the thing about the originals. I think I like all of it.
Okay.
From bringing it in. So
fair enough.
I was excited. I remember hearing about It remakes for the last 10 years. It's always been rumored, oh, there's an It remake coming, and then it never fucking happens. And this one actually got down to business. Okay, I saw the first commercial and I went, I don't know if I'm going to like this.
I'll say...
I was really not...
Just to interject, I felt the exact same way about the trailers.
Right. So, how was the trailers? The reviews start coming out. The reviews are good. And I think we said, oh, let's do it. Let's go watch it. Let's do this thing. I can't remember if I was when I saw that it was really sold out, I was like, shit, I don't think I can go this weekend because it's just... Can't even get a seat, whatever.
Yeah, we had to see it late on Saturday night because I tried to buy them on Thursday.
Exactly.
I go out of work at 7. So I thought okay, 7:30? Oh, no. 7:45? No. 8? No. 8:15? No. 8:30? No. 8:45? All right, I guess we're doing 8:45.
I had to buy an aisle seat.
Yeah.
A pre-purchased seat, so it was a reserved seat. So I would sit by myself with only one person because I don't want to sit in the middle, whatever. So yeah, I had to go whatever. So the reason why I even pushed it to go do it after I was kind of maybe we'll do it in a couple days was because you text me going oh yeah. So I was all right, cool, whatever. The review's been good. I go in there, and the first 3-4 minutes, I'm like, I don't like this, but it'll get better because it's just whatever. And I just kept saying to myself, okay, well, and then I came to the realization about 30 minutes in, I fucking hate this movie. I think this movie is terrible. And then that lasted all the way until the last 20 minutes. I did not like this movie.
Okay, so I'm actually just going to be quiet. I want to just listen. I want to listen to all of your.
Yeah. Okay.
Go ahead. Talk to our audience.
One of the things that you said to me, which was this is we talked about the trailer. It felt like they were making another Conjuring or a scary movie.
Chillennial is what I heard somebody call. I don't know because I don't know. There's a name for it. You just start throwing the Annabelles, your Insidious, they're
James Wan stuff.
Lots of music, loud, just cheap, just
that swirling sound of louder and louder and louder and louder, and then big thing happens.
Yeah, just never-ending tone. It never goes away.
Right.
From beginning to finish, it's just always. There's never a balancing of tone. It's just the same, trying to keep you on the edge of the seat the whole time.
Yeah.
But for me personally, really, I know people really like the Conjuring movies. I don't. I think they're fine. It's kind of entertaining.
I think we've talked about this on a podcast before, but I got to a point where after a certain age and certain number of those, I'm I can't do it anymore. I actually
I think the last kind of movie like that I could enjoy
is Paranormal Activity.
That's a different kind of movie. That's a found footage thing.
That's what it did its own thing. But after Paranormal Activity, after The First Ring, after
I was going to say The First Ring.
The First Ring was one that just started
I haven't seen it in a long time, but I mean, that to me is the same kind of movie. It's slick. It's very heavy on tone and style, and it is stuff, But I remember actually really enjoying it and being invested in the character and stories. I can't say that about any of this other new crop. So anyway, I know I said I wasn't going to talk, but
no, that's fine. I think we should. This is we gotta see where the background we're coming from.
Right.
So it was. I remember Insidious and then Insidious 2.
Because I don't want people to think that I love those kinds of movies, right? And that's why So.
And for me, it's after Paranormal Activity, it's fuck, I sleep with the light on kind of thing. That's scary, And then it was Insidious, and again, they're not. they're cheesy and they're dumb, but they have their dark house scary shit that makes I always go back to that scene from the remake of Dawn of the Dead when the girl's in the hallway and she fucking jumps up. I always have this thing where like I'm closing my bedroom door and I look out into a dark house. Something's just gonna like come rushing at me. That fucking scene from Louis when he's having the dreams a lot, and he opens the door and it's just dark. And he's like, oh, like
the guy with no eyes.
But that weird shock of like I don't know how to interpret this darkness, right? Mm-hmm. It's so dark that I literally cannot see it, and it's just scary. I had to stop watching movies like this. I can't do it. It actually fucking hurts me.
So it's funny because like, so you are definitely, this is another kind of interesting wrinkle because you are definitely also more sensitive to this stuff.
Yes.
Because I don't get, you know me, I'm crazy. I go spend the night in abandoned mental asylums. I'll go sit in a pitch black room just to see if it'll freak me out a little bit. I don't.
You're looking to see if you have a soul.
I don't.
I'm trying to protect my soul.
Exactly. That's exactly right. I couldn't have said it any better myself. So. These movies that are just completely predicated, and again, in my opinion, completely predicated on trying to elicit that reaction from you, I find incredibly boring.
Yeah.
Because I find no characters, I find no interesting monsters or cool, like, I don't find anything to latch onto. I was like, Ryan, you like horror movies? I'm like, yeah, for different reasons.
Different kinds of horror movies. Yeah, those, primal. Jump scares are lame. I don't do jump scares. Now, there are paranormal jump scares, which will scare me.
Yeah.
But they are still, it's more because of the way that...
They're not really necessarily unnerving. They're more just about, like, getting people to jump out of their seats and spill their popcorn.
The paranormal
Paranormal Activity, I think, are effective.
No. The paranormal jump scares, like from Insidious, will get me as like a fucking, ooh, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Regular jump scares, like a Jason Voorhees, don't ever get me. I'm never like a, oh...
So it has to be a paranormal thing.
It has to have something weird. So jump scares are fine. Jump scares don't scare me at all. But if it's a paranormal thing, I'm fucked, like Paranormal Activity, dragging you with an invisible thing, I don't like that. And I also don't like those coupled with a jump scare. Right. Because I'm already so fucking on edge, and then you do the jump scare, it's too easy.
I'll say like...
I feel like it was 100% nothing except for the last 20 minutes, nothing but just... There's a term for what Christopher Nolan does with his movies. The Schofield, I think it's Schofield. It's a sound where you do the octaves in a way and it loops. It's the idea of a barber pole. The old school barber poles with the rotating, the red stripe on them. The idea if you watch one, it just kind of like goes up and down infinitely. There's a way you can do that with audio, where it sounds like the audio is constantly going on a higher pitch, so it's gaining tension, but you're not actually ever going anywhere. It's this weird loop, but auditorily, it sounds like it's going to finally crescendo at something, and it never does. And Nolan's been doing it like all of his movies. Like, and if you do it, you're like, oh, I see now. I feel like everyone's doing that at some point. I don't even know if there was a soundtrack to this movie besides New Kids on the Block, because all it was scary tone getting louder. Oh my God, something's gonna happen. Boom. Non-stop. The whole fucking movie was jump scares and loud sound effects, and I was so fucking bored. I hated it. I don't care about jump scares. They don't scare me. Pennywise the Clown in the TV series with Tim Curry as Pennywise is actually unnerving and creepy. This one's just like, oh, he's a monster guy. He's trying to be a clown, but he's not actually scary. But he will scream and go like this really fast and move really fast, and that's scary physically, but I don't fucking care. So I hated this movie. I was so sad. I was so depressed. And then I sat in the theater and went, now I see why it made $120 million. Because this is easy goings for mainstream audiences. I remember people were in the audience for, there's a painting on a wall. And then he turns around and the painting's on the floor. And then he puts the painting on the wall and the painting's different. And you hear people in the audience go, oh, yes, idiot. It's different. I know. The reaction is supposed to be internal. You don't have to go, did you see the painting's different? Shit like that. And you go, it's going to be behind him. And be like, oh my gosh, there it is. I fucking know. That's why that style of scarers is boring. Because it's hitting all these regular Joes. And I'll be mean. I'll just say a bunch of fucking idiot mainstream audiences are all like into it. And I'm going, okay, 120 million, makes sense. I don't know how the critical reaction was so high. I mean, you liked it. I didn't. I'm the outlier here, and I'm going to argue my case. I'm not going to say
I'm just shutting up and letting you go.
Right, and I'm not going to say you can't like it. because I could see why some people might like that. I personally don't. But I got really upset because you're like, this is not The Conjuring. And then I watch it and I'm like, oh, this is totally the, I have a matchstick and it's dark and the hands come and do this and blow the matchstick out and now it's dark everywhere. Like that's totally all this was. And that shit's just lame.
Okay.
So the characters.
I am listening. I'm not just shut up
I know.
waiting for my turn.
So with all that said, I think it's a really good version of that kind of movie. I think the characters are better than the other kinds of movies. I think it looks better than the other kinds of movies. But then I have to go back to Member Berries. Remember the 80s? Remember New Kids on the Block? Remember how it's kind of the 50s too? But it's really the 80s? They laid it on a little thick.
With the 80s stuff?
The 80s stuff was just like, hey, remember this song? They're listening to rap music on a boombox. Isn't that funny? Because the audience is like, ha, ha, ha. And I'm like, fuck me. Like, this is not what I signed up for. I wanted a psychologically, creepy band of gets together of friends and fights a monster kind of thing. Not this, like, oh, cheap laugh. Too many dick jokes. Way too many dick jokes. And I like dick jokes. These were young kids, and I was a bad young kid. I was a sailor cursing really bad because I came from a broken-ass home with an abusive father, and there's a lot of cursing in my life. But this just for the sake of it, because audiences would find it fun. Seth Rogen's popular now, so dick jokes. I like Seth Rogen, but dick jokes. I drew the short straw. Man, if only it was a dick measuring contest. You're 12.
It's okay. I'm gonna shut up.
The dick jokes, your mom's on her period, I'm going to have sex with your sister, your mom. You fucking, ew. Eddie's mom, terrible way to that character. I think Beverly was great, but Beverly was also turned into a damsel in distress thing. We talked about that a little bit. We'll get into that when we get to the plot. I think the age range of the characters is kind of old. Like, Ben seems way younger. And I looked up like the IMDb, the Wikipedia. I don't know how old these actors are. Some of them they're just like this actor was in these movies. I have no idea when they were born. Some of them are 13. Some of them are 16. And then you have the Henry Bowers character, the bully. The bullies. I couldn't think of the word. The bullies are way too old. The bullies are way older, and I don't know anywhere when I was in school where the kids that were driving cars and hanging out with people that were driving to school were beating up on like 12-year-olds. That's like a 10th grader bullying a 7th grader. That you'd bully a 9th grader or a 10th grader. You wouldn't bully kids unless it was someone younger brother that you didn't like or something like that. But this just
I'm just curious how much older is Henry Bowers than the losers in the book?
I want to say like a year or two maybe. But okay. Here's the thing. These are casting choices. It's not about age. It's about Kylo Ren's fucking younger brother. Adam is not actually Adam Driver, but
yeah, I know what you mean.
He's tall, he's skinny, he's way bigger than these kids. This is like, why would you let the adults pick on the teenager? They were too far apart. Belch is like a grown man. He looks like the guy from My Name Is Earl. Like they were too. It was just a bad choice. I'm just ranting about why I didn't like the movie.
No, that's okay. That's why I want
we go through the movie.
Yeah. Because I'm going to address some of these things, but I'm also going to talk about why I liked it.
I don't like that Mike Hanlon's character got, like, they pulled a lot away from him. And, whatever. I don't want to get into that. I want to, but I don't. But, so, yeah, Mike's character, but Mike was a little bit more from the book. And I don't think the kids really built this bond. The whole purpose of this story, of it, is it's a character monster thing that feeds on the fear in general. It's a lot easier to instill fear in a child than it is an adult. Mm-hmm. Fear makes the meat taste better. You know what I mean? Like that's the whole thing of like, baby meat, because babies just taste better, Snowpiercer stuff, right? The kids taste better. And when they're full of fear, they taste really good. So I'm going to scare the shit out of them for a long time before I kill them and eat them. I get off on scaring children. What can fight that? Children who are not scared of me. how do they not get scared of me? They band together as a group and have more trust between each other to outweigh the fear. This movie, they were constantly at each other going, I don't want to do this, but I do want to do this. We're not very cohesive as a group. The TV miniseries, the whole kid stuff is about them meeting each other, all being losers, banding together, and growing as a friendship to fight this thing. And this one's kind of like a given, like, hey, there's Beverly, we met her. Hey, you want to hang out with us? Cool. Now we're best friends. Like, immediately. No reason why. If you've seen both, you can kind of see where I'm going with it, I think. I like to think someone could agree with me here. I think a lot of new movies just take things for granted. They just like surface level, and then they don't build it up in a way to make you really believe that this is a thing, but maybe some people accept it. I don't. I don't accept that that's an actual relationship between all those kids that's strong enough to fight this monster. By the end of the movie, I was like, hey, I believe that now. Now that they're all together, but none of that shit happened before. It was always they're at odds with each other. In the original, Stan is the one that's like, I don't believe it, it's not real. And they're like, you've seen it. And Stan has to go, I agree with you guys. But he was always the weakest link. And he's the one who gets targeted by Pennywise. And here, it's like, I think they're all at odds with each other. I don't ever see any cohesion between, unless it's Bill and Beverly. They're the two that really are like, don't take no shit from Pennywise, and that's why they kind of get together. And I'll just stop it here, I think, before I forget everything else I'm going to say. This movie is 2 hours and 15 minutes. I don't know how many credits, whatever, but it's over 2 hours by a good margin. If they make the adult version, and it's the same thing, 2 hours and 15 minutes, we're talking 4.5 hour movie, right? The TV miniseries was only a hair over 3 hours, and it did all the things that people are going to be like, well, the movie can't be 5 hours long. You can't have all stuff. I'm like, the shorter movie already did a lot of these things. So, all that said, that's why I didn't like it. That's why I think creatively the decisions that were made were bad. We'll get into some of the more specific ones later, I guess. I don't think it's a budget issue. I don't think it's a studio issue. I don't think it's a effects issue. I don't even think it's like a writing issue. I think it was just creatively they made bad decisions. So, with that said, let's actually talk about the movie itself.
Oh, I'm not allowed to talk about what I thought?
Oh, I mean, is there something you want to... I figured you would talk about individual...
I thought it was going to be like counterpoint.
If you want to. I don't care. I'm not trying to...
I don't want to argue about it.
I feel like a weird outlier, and I'm like, does anybody see what I'm seeing? You know? And I'm the one who... I saw Alien Covenant, and everyone's like, oh, fucking Ridley Scott. And I'm like, I liked it. I could see why people didn't like Prometheus and that, but I enjoy it. This is the first time where I am like, why am I the only one who doesn't like this? I don't get it. I thought I would like this, and I don't, you know? I don't like to shit on everything. I just don't see things I don't want to see.
Would you say that this is... how does
now that I'm all dried out.
How does this rate to your disappointment of Dark Tower this year?
Dark Tower's way worse.
So I'm just saying...
But I knew Dark Tower would be bad because it was too short and everything. Creatively, man.
But you knew this was going to be bad. Like you had been saying since the very beginning that you had no faith in this.
From the trailers, I thought that, you know, the casting of Pennywise, I know that it's not Tim Curry and there's going to be people like that. Or I'm always like, I would love for Tim Curry to come back.
But you saw a picture of Pennywise and you said...
And I went, nope.
Yeah.
Not, because he's already immediately scary. He's not a clown. He's not a... Tim Curry would lure you in as a like, hi buddy, I'm a clown, here's a balloon. This one's like, I'm a clown, you want to be my friend? I'm like, fuck no, I don't want to be your friend. You're fucking scary. Richie's scared of clowns. If that was a clown, even I wasn't scared of clowns, fuck clowns. You know, fuck that guy. The prosthetic fake teeth, the weird bottom lip that sticks. Look at that clown. That's a clown. See that clown? Look at Pennywise. He's happy. He's got pom-poms. He's having a good time. Fucking big fake hairdo. So yes, I thought that I was wrong before it came out. The critics said, oh, it's
So technically this was a bigger disappointment than the Dark Tower.
Personally, Dark Tower being bad hurts because but we kind of knew it would never be good, right? It just couldn't be. There's no reason it had to be bad.
Okay. So I'm going to talk now, and
I'm going to keep talking.
I didn't interrupt you. All right. So here I go.
That's my review.
Yeah. So I already talked earlier about like I feel like I already stated my case in terms of like what kinds of movies I like and what kinds of movies I don't like.
I'm going to interrupt you actually real fast. Just let people don't know. I've mentioned a little bit here and there. I have a thing where I suffer from dry mouth now, so I'm constantly popping these stupid ACT pills in. So if you hear it clicking around my mouth or I'm talking weird, it's because I have to put these in. If I talk too much, my throat dries up and it burns real bad. So I have to put that out there.
And you're gonna hear this nice little clicky sound probably on the sound.
And that bad allergy is my nose is always itchy, so if I'm constantly rubbing my nose, I'm not a coke head.
Right.
I just have bad allergies and dry mouth. So
actually, I'm going to be really short because like pretty much it all worked for me. I do agree that Mike got short shrifted, and that's as somebody who has not read the book, he actually just felt like, and from watching the TV movie, I didn't understand. He was the one that becomes the librarian. He's the one that is like the historian guy, and I don't know if. Did they just give that to Ben in the book?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the difference being Ben is the new kid. Mike, just an example of like how much I love this. Mike Hanlon, Bill Dunbrough, Beverly Marsh, Ben Hanscom, Eddie Kasprak, Richie Tozier. Like I know everyone's names. I know everyone in the story. I remember these fucking names for the rest of my life. You know, that's how much I like the series.
Right.
Yes, Mike is treated in this one as almost a new kid because he's a homeschooled.
Yeah. Well, they call him homeschool.
Because he doesn't go there, whereas in the other one, he goes to school with them, you know? So that's kind of a, why? Creative decision, again, I don't know why.
I want to talk about a little bit about the original script because that stuff is way played up more in the original script. I kind of wish that stuff was still in there, but I kind of felt like maybe it was just a time decision. But
that's what, I can't, time decisions, it's not.
Well, it's already too, okay. Anyway, so I'm saying I agree with you. I think that I thought Ben had enough going on with Beverly. Again, things that worked for me. Like the new kids thing in the block, that's fine if you're like this. Like for me, I thought it was really endearing, like being in their room for the first time. She sees the poster before nobody else does, and and he's like, "Please don't," and she's like, "I got you, dog," and like closes the door before anybody sees it. I thought that was a really nice moment. I thought they did a lot of stuff very economically and efficiently, very quickly. Like the first scene, seeing them in school, they didn't. Some more of them. Which ones of them already knew each other in the TV movie?
That's the thing is they all had the same class together. It seemed like so.
Because I don't even remember school. I remember the meeting at the Barrens.
But like Beverly sat behind Bill in class, but then they act like they didn't really know each other. So I don't know how that.
I don't mean like know who each other are. I mean who were already tight before. Eddie
and Richie are like.
Eddie, Richie, Stan, and
so you know you have
Bill.
You have your clique of friends, but there's always people within that clique are closer. So Eddie and Richie are like together, right?
So that was like the book.
Bill and Eddie are also like that. Richie's kind of like everyone's with everybody.
I remember
right?
from the TV movie, they're at the Barrens, and Stan and Richie show up as if they already knew they were meeting him there. So like they were already tight with each other.
Yeah.
So okay, so the movie actually was, for whatever reason, I thought that was a.
Again, I haven't read the book in a long time.
But the TV series was like that.
I do not remember a lot of the little things. There are some big things from the book that I'm going to talk about that are fucking, whoa, what?
Yeah.
That I will get into that I remember those specifically. Little things like who was friends with who in the book, I don't remember that stuff as much. But I'll go off the TV miniseries because that's where I started a lot of these
I understand
things.
like all your dick jokes. I think that like 99% of those are just coming out of Richie. So it's really just your characterization of him. That maybe it was too modern, trying too hard,
even
or
Eddie
whatever.
For Eddie to be
I liked Eddie. I don't like Eddie in the TV series. He's fine.
Oh, he's such an old...
Eddie was one of my favorite parts of the movie. Most of the times that I was laughing were from him. I think my actual favorite moment that I don't even know that it was supposed to be comedic, but like the triumphant moment where they're all beating down on Pennywise at the end, and Pennywise like spits goo all over him, and he's just like, "I'm gonna fucking kill you!" He's so mad. It was the grossest thing that had happened to him in the whole movie. I think this is just really good writing. They go in the house and he's like, breathe through your nose. And he's like, why? Because if you breathe through your mouth, it's like you're eating it. He's like, like that made me laugh.
And the thing is Eddie, to me, is a timid character. And here,
fair enough.
He's a victim of...
He's a germaphobe.
He's a victim of Munchausen syndrome from his mom.
Yeah. But I mean, he doesn't have to be, again...
Not Nightingale, because that would be where the nurse falls in love with the patient. Munchausen's meaning she's telling her kid that he's sick when he's not.
Right.
Yeah, so
again, I'm not tethered to any pre-existing thing for these. So for me, this characterization of him just being like just a germaphobe, and that was like the big thing he gets over, it worked for me.
I can get along with that. It's just that he was a little too confident.
I think he was only like that in response to Richie. I think he hangs out with Richie the most. And so him and Richie have that repertoire. I don't really think Eddie just like volunteers bon mots, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but Richie does. Like that.
Right.
Richie doesn't know how to not be that. Stan is kind of like this, but I think that's the point. It seems like that's kind of always the character has been a little bit
Stan
more...
has always been the outsider.
Okay.
Not outsider, but like he's Jewish, and all the other kids are not.
Okay.
So he has the bar mitzvah. He's I had a friend growing up that like one of my circle, he was Jewish, and he, you know, when you're a kid, like I don't care that he's Jewish or anything like that, but you make jokes about it because why not, right? You make jokes about everyone. Everyone who has a thing, you make
just
jokes
like
about
they did
it, right?
in the movie.
So he has jokes that are going to be insults that are only going to apply to him. Oh, you wear the yarmulke. You know, oh, we have to go to your bar mitzvah. Like I went to a bar mitzvah, and you know, I loved it. It was a lot of fun, and I love him. I wish we were still friends and just we would move on in life. But you do get singled out, not because you're a Jew, just because you're different in some weird way, or in some way, right? So Stan is very much like his dad's a rabbi. It's like having your dad be the preacher in a small town. You're obviously going to get singled out for something.
Right.
So Stan is kind of on the outskirts because he's the Jewish kid.
So this is all to say that for me, because I haven't even talked about the horror scares or anything like that.
Right.
Like for me, and that's what when I texted you and you said, is it just like a scary movie? And I'm like, it's a scary movie, but I said it's Stand By Me with everything else. I still...
See, when you say Stand By Me, that group of 4 kids really like has to...
Because they already know each other. So this is...
Right.
So that was the wrong terminology. The only reason I used that...
But if it was Stand By Me...
I use it as shorthand for young teenage kids...
Summer adventure.
About them.
Yeah.
And I still think that that's what this movie is. I do think all the scares are there and everything like that. But each one of these characters, I think I can talk about individually, and I think that they have legitimate development and arcs. Beverly, again, I didn't really get anything out of her in the thing other than she was just kind of like, her dad was weird and she was kind of so-she.
Her dad was abusive.
I know, but like...
And he kept her away from everybody else.
Right.
And so when she grows up to marry a man who's just like her father...
But she was also just kind of me. Like, that's like what I got from...
But she overcame it. She just had to she had to grow up to be a whole woman to finally see
part of it's probably
that,
like the actress that plays her, like the young actress that plays her in the TV movie and stuff like that. I'm just saying, like, I didn't get much from her. It's like, she's the girl. Whereas here, I felt like she was actually like the leader. She's like the confident. Her arc is the most interesting because she's like it's this resignation where she gets to this point. You get everything with that with the 4 boys getting. Actually, they get bullied outside the school, so you actually see her get bullied first.
By other girls.
By other girls.
Yeah.
And I love that was actually the first thing. And it was pretty hardcore. I like that it wasn't just her like, oh God, like crying. Like she's kind of she's had this reputation for a long time that she has done nothing to earn. And
all the little preppy bitches are the ones
it's made her tough.
Yeah.
And
well, it's also the fact that her dad's a... See, it's hard because if you hadn't read or watched the other one, her dad's the custodian at the school. Mm-hmm. So the kids refer to her as like the garbage girl, right? Here it's just her dad's just a sexually abusive in a way, creepy father.
Right.
But is he this? I think he's the janitor. Mm. But if I hadn't seen the other one, I kind of might not make that connection. But in the TV series, it's like, no, everyone knows her dad.
Right.
Because he's there cleaning up their shit school. That's way more impactful. Because you're thinking, oh, your fucking dad picks up my trash versus, oh, your dad's a garbage man.
Right.
Here it's like, no, he's my garbage man, you know?
Right.
So that's missing, and I don't know if that's actually the case here.
They were calling her poor girl and pay less and telling her clothes sucked and all this kind of thing, even though she, I don't know, she seemed like a pretty stylish kid for her age. She seemed like she should be the coolest kid in school. You know, but this is Derry. So this is the other thing, the other character I kind of want to talk about is the actual town. Because you were saying like, I don't see why these kids would pick on these kids. Like it seemed like over the top, but I'm like, not in Derry though. Like in Derry, seems like this whole undercurrent of which I mean, they talk about it like this town has this history of like darkness and all this kind of stuff. But I thought it was there in a lot of really subtle ways.
I can't talk, and I think that's an adult thing. I can't talk about one of the things actually.
Yeah, let's not spoil it. But all the adult.
It's literally the end, like one of the endings. Oh, but I want to talk about the full, like my just two favorite parts of the book are like the last couple pages, and then what happens kind of right before that too. It's so good. We'll have to get back to that when we revisit.
We'll do this again when we're still not doing this.
I love talking about it because it's so. That's a Stephen King thing. Like that's just so good, but we can't do it. So
every adult in this movie is off. They're all in some way. There are no cool adults in the whole movie. So it starts with Mike's grandfather.
Yeah.
Which I liked all that stuff, and I wish there was more. And when I talk about the original script, like you'll know, I'll inform you. Like Mike had a whole other thing that got short shrifted. Anyway, but think about there's nothing good going on there. It's just a very harsh like. There's
the real world.
Slaughterers and people that get slaughtered, and that's it. And you don't want to be one of the ones that gets slaughtered. That's this whole thing. And it's real. The racism is more played up in the script, where he's even referring to like, why do you want to go to school with the other kids? Those are the sheep. Like, it's interesting. Bill's dad, Zach, who works for the city, like, and the only time you really ever see him is when he gets angry at Bill for
taking his sewer map or whatever.
But more specifically, still trying to find Georgie.
Yeah.
And my first thing was like, you didn't even find a body, and you're like already resigned.
But this is a creative thing I get mad at because
it
ripped Georgie's arm off, and everyone finds this little kid with this arm ripped off, and he dies. Here, it's like Georgie just disappears, and so for Bill to be like, I know. Actually, I don't even know what Bill thinks because
I think
until they see the monster, they don't know much about like how someone died. They've gone missing until like kind of later on they kind of start thinking, oh, it's probably been horrific.
But that's why when you're I keep wanting to do this. I'm afraid it's going to mess up my mic. When you're a kid and none of the adults have the same kind of urgency you would expect, like you. And that's why I forgive the stuff that you were kind of complaining about where they're like, it's summer, we should be doing kid things.
Yeah.
It's easy to feel that way, especially when you're a child, when the whole town, when even the adults don't want to really even seem to want to take responsibility for the things that are happening.
Go outside at summertime, go play.
Kinda, that's sort of what they want. So the pharmacist, fucking creepy. Just rolled right into hitting on little pedo guy on.
Well, she let him into that.
Didn't have to respond to that.
Okay, we got to start talking about the actual movie rather than just the part like our.
Just real quick then, because I talked about the character stuff and whatever. I found the scares actually novel. Not all of them. You mentioned the stuff like the painting and all that kind of stuff is it's just Chillennial like 101. I thought that the sewer grate opening was fantastic. I thought
sewer grate opening.
The Georgie's demise, the opening scene. I thought it was great. I thought it was wonderful. Awesome. Put the camera here with perspective of the hand kind of coming out and then stopping quite short of it, you seeing how long it is, but you're like, that is a really long fucking arm. And then the going out the rack focus with the lady that's feeding her cat and stuff like that. Right. Again, to continue to iterate this point of like, why is it everybody's kind of sleeping a little bit? Like the children are disappearing and stuff. I thought that the garage scene with the slides, I thought that was great. That's actually the one moment where I did jump. I was not expecting him to be fucking
the size of a house.
I thought it was cool. Dare to be different. Dare to be different.
When I was I pulled one of these. Really?
That's the kind of bizarre shit that I was expecting to see.
I was expecting in that scene, as it was happening, you just see the commercial, I think back to that scene in Signs when they're in the...
By the way, you said you were just going to let me talk about all the positive things. So I just sit there and let you talk. Especially for the sake of time, you would think. Because I still have a few more nice things to say.
The scene from Signs when they're in the basement and the lights, and then she's standing there and the hand kind of moves. I thought it was going to be... I mean, they obviously didn't...
He was already in there,
the thing.
You saw him.
They didn't do what I thought, so they beat me because they went... I'm not going to say it, but it's a line that Robert Downey Jr. says in Tropic Thunder. They went full with that scene.
I don't think so.
They went to a scene where even I was like, no, you didn't just have him come out of the... To
be fair, in the TV movie... He gets attacked by shower heads. So let's not get too not too up on our high horse.
But what I was expecting in that scene was the slide projection is that when it knocked over and someone was standing near the wall and then was next to him, I figured like the projection would move and like grab the kid with a hand that's not even out. It's like part of the picture. And I'd have been like, that's pretty cool. But they didn't do it. It was cool. They went full just, hey, there's a bull in your garage. Anyways, keep going.
I thought that was pretty bizarre and cool. Also, I don't need to talk about all the scares. We can talk about it as we go. I'll address the last thing here. I thought Skarsgård did a really good job. I completely bought it. Hook, line, and sinker. I love Tim Curry. I think he's great. I understand what you're saying. We're a clown. It should be a clown that's like, and like, hey, little buddy. I think they did make a decision. They made it.
That was good.
They made a decision.
I want Krusty. Don't touch your mic. I want Krusty the Clown, not Sideshow Bob.
That's fine. I think that the decision that they made to just make it a monster was a respectable one. Because at some point you go, they're already scared. Like they're scaring at the beginning of the thing. He should just be. Who is he enticing at this point, other than Georgie? Like who are like the?
We were saying.
At what point do they ever just like, oh, is he a nice clown? Like that's never what happens.
I think about my son. If he ran into Skarsgård Pennywise, he'd be like, "Get me the fuck out of here!"
I thought that
if
scene
he saw
worked.
Tim Curry, my kid would be like, "I want a balloon."
I thought that scene worked. That kid has such wide-eyed wonder at the whole thing, and he is scared at first, but he kind of talks him into it.
He's not convincing though. The Pennywise is not convincing to be like, I'm your friend. He always sounds scary.
Here's what Skarsgård's Pennywise convinced me of that Tim Curry's did not. Okay?
What? To say what?
As a Dark Tower fan, I was actually convinced that is a demon monster from a Dark Tower dimension.
Right.
That just wears the skin of and doesn't wear it very well.
Well,
that's
let's just say that Pennywise and the thing it's way beyond just being some demon from Dark Tower.
I know, he's like the devil, basically, right?
No, he's not Randall
It's
Flagg.
him and the turtle are like opposing forces.
Hey, don't spoilers of the second part of the book. Well, it's actually the first part too. No, Cosmos between dimensions.
Point being is that it's a Lovecraftian.
Yes, absolutely.
Not a ghost.
Right.
Not Freddy Krueger.
Right.
Not like literally, not even otherworldly because it's probably existed before the world existed.
Kind of like a xenomorph in the first movie.
Kind of like a xenomorph.
Before it became this thing that David created.
But to me, that's actually what it felt like. It felt like that as soon as he came on screen, and he felt even more like that as it went for me.
I could agree with that. That's what.
But I do agree that if your mission statement is, this should be like Tim Curry because he should be like kind of a goofy, funny clown that should be enticing, and then he gets scary. I agree it failed at that, but I don't think it was ever trying to be that. I think from the get-go, it was going to be a monster movie.
Like I said, creative decision.
Fair enough.
Not a makeup thing, not a whatever.
Let's talk about the actual movie, right? You said
because would you say Tim Curry actually has that vein, that twist between like...
Yes.
Yeah. So... Before we get
I also don't think that he's ever gets as frightening as Bill Skarsgård.
Agreed. But they're different.
Like the existential dread I try to imagine feeling.
The difference is that in the 1990 TV series, miniseries, is that it's all kind of off camera. It's your imagination. Here they can show it.
But I mean also just the things that he says and the way he delivers the line.
Yeah.
Tim Curry doesn't come off as mean as Skarsgård's version does. Skarsgård's version feels genuinely dangerous.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And like in the way that like you start thinking of when you start thinking about the real world monsters of the world. And so the stuff where he like, let me put it this way, like when he talks to like Henry, right? In the TV movie.
Yeah.
Even though that's kind of in the second one a little bit. Well, I'm already spoiling things.
But in the kids...
But it is more kind of more like, hey, Henry, you're my buddy. Like
here's
this kind
the
of thing.
I mean, we're going to talk about this movie. We're going to spoil it. We can say it already. Like, I don't think Henry's coming back.
I think he's coming back.
If he comes back, it's fucking terribly done.
Yeah, but it's just supernatural. Just put your bones back together. Who knows?
See, that's different. If it's just a monster,
he
it's
has
different.
to come back. He has to.
It's different if he's just.
I will think that's
fell in water.
I will think that's a bad creative decision if he doesn't appear in the second film.
Right, but then they should have done it. They should have gotten rid of him a different way. They threw him down a well, and he went. Whoa, he's dead.
He went pretty hard.
Yeah,
I think he you break every bone in his body, but like it. It's it. Like he can do whatever.
But it had no time because it was dealing with it. Whatever. Okay,
let's move on.
So
part 2 of our. Whatever.
Now that we've got our opinions out, let's talk about it and talk more about opinions.
Sure.
Burp. Burp. The TV miniseries and this movie both have the same opening with Georgie and Bill. Mm-hmm. The TV miniseries has a scene before this.
Which you have to do because...
Wait, right?
So the hardcover, when this first came out, and the paperback, the trade dress for it for the longest time, the thing that's very iconic for people when they've seen the book on the shelf is that illustration of the boat going down the gutter and then this green claw sticking
I already feel stupid. The first scene in the actual TV miniseries is the little girl, right? And then Mike calling Bill,
it's
and then Bill's reliving
out
it.
in the laundry.
Yes. Okay, so that's kind of like I have the notes from when I watched that, and so here's why I might like the other one more. Well, the very first scene of the 2017 movie, I was like, ooh, rain and green. I love trees and weather and rain, and I'm a sucker for anything. I always say, you know, my favorite episodes of MASH are the ones when it's like a storm outside, it's cold, and they're all bundled up. It was too dark. Like visibly dark. Like I couldn't see the character's definition and when they were doing the boat and stuff like that, but then it got better.
I think it was intentionally... I agree. The lighting for it was definitely... I think it was trying to convey... It felt like it conveyed the mood of like a rainy day like that, because that is actually what it feels like when you don't have like the lights on and stuff.
Yeah.
You really didn't like any of the chemistry between Bill and Georgie in those scenes? Like, I really felt like he loved his little brother and like he was really happy he made the boat for him, and
so
like he was really scared of the cellar and, you know, all that stuff.
See, but the cellar thing was too much, I think. Compared to the TV miniseries, it was like run down the stairs, grab it, and run back. This one was kind of more... No, he
had
hit the flashlight.
He goes in there and he sees the two
and I thought
things
that was
that look like eyes.
I thought that was a cool effect, but that was longer than in the other one where he just was like, he can see it from the top of the stairs, and he's like, I don't want to go anywhere the fuck down there. Anyways, I would say the TV miniseries did this better because there's the part when they make the boat and he's going out and Georgie's like, thanks, Bill, and he gives him a kiss on the cheek. And now this is the 50s in the TV miniseries, not the 80s. And Bill goes, you got cooties all over me. And I'm like, that's endearing. Yeah. Cooties. And he's like, hey, don't let mom know she's going to have a bird. She's going to have a fit, right? I don't think that it was bad in this one. I'm just thinking I think the original was better. I think they did a better job of selling that he liked Georgie and loved him. But the TV miniseries...
There's a creative decision change from the script again. I won't talk about it later, but I'm always going to forget.
No, what?
Because two things. One, there is actually a like not the cooties thing, but there is a like hey, I'm still your older brother like kind of thing, you know?
Gives him a little...
It wasn't all gooey.
Get him, champ.
No, not like that. I mean like a little bit of like...
Do you throw him his jersey on the way out?
No, I don't mean like good brother.
Right.
I mean like teasing. Like he teased him a little bit. And I think they took that out because it's like in the new movie, it's like wall-to-wall sincerity, like for that scene.
Yeah.
Because pretty big decision they changed. So in Cary Fukunaga's version, Bill's like his character thing is not, oh, my brother's missing and I know he's alive and I want to go find him.
Right.
His is, my parents and family, it sucks that they're like ignoring me and all they do is think about Georgie. And I feel like they looked at that and they went, I'm worried that's not going to test well, that he's going to be like...
So in the TV miniseries, you had that scene later on when he goes into Georgie's room and he opens up like a photo album.
Yeah.
And and then it starts to fucking flip on its own.
Right.
And he goes, and he throws it and it flips open to Georgie's picture and then blood starts oozing from it. And the parents come in going, why were you in Georgie's room? And they don't see the... This is one of the things where, okay, so we talk about Derry being this weird... Even the parents, the adults, whatever. And I think it's ambiguous for a reason, and I don't remember the book. The parents see the photo album, they pick it up, and they're getting mad at Bill for being in Georgie's room and looking through stuff like, why were you in here? And he's like, I was just whatever. But he sees all this blood. The parents don't seem to see the blood on everything.
Right.
But you go, do they see the blood?
No, they don't see it.
And I'm pretty sure that's what's to be taken as.
Again, that's in the original script, but at some point they just cut it out because they figured it was... It's just stuff like, you see somebody complain about like, why aren't they talking to the adults, they're talking to the police? There's a scene in the original script where they go to the police station. It's like, well, of course they fucking...
Monster's gonna get you, boys?
I know. It's just like, why even have the scene, you know?
And they're all like Irish cops from the 50s are like, hey, Sonny boy.
One of them is Bauer's
you remember
dad,
in the TV miniseries, it's actually, what your kids doing down here?
Right. But there's also a whole, I mean, obviously, I think the scene that solidifies that is that Beverly's invites them all up.
But I think there was a really good ambiguous...
Invites the boys up to see if they see the blood.
Right, but I think in the original, there's two scenes, the same thing with her dad and Beverly, is that I almost get this weird feeling like, do the adults see it, but they choose to ignore it? You know?
I think that's... I think that metaphorically, that's true.
And I don't think it's... Right, but I like that in the original, it kind of just leaves the crack on the door open a little bit to go, I don't think that's what they're trying to say, but they kind of are saying it in a weird way. But yeah, we don't get it.
Okay.
No, so in the original, the scene before Georgie, this one doesn't have, which I think actually is a better
Well, they don't do
setup.
that because that's in the future.
You're right. You're absolutely right. But the TV miniseries is the first kill is basically a little girl out on her tricycle in the rain. The mom's folding up clothes. She comes in and she.
So this is kind of why you feel about this, because this is back to the Tim Curry being the inviting. Because he only does it twice in the whole thing. It's with the little kids. He does it with the little girl with the laundry, and you see him do it with Georgie. But all the rest of them, you don't even get an opportunity to be like, oh, hey, clown, what's up? Like, it's all just like wall-to-wall scariness. So in this version, if there's only going to be one, for the whole movie, he's going to be presented as this scary.
Yeah. Okay, well, let me just say this.
Okay.
So,
we're never going to get through it.
We aren't. Because I really do care.
Yeah.
As much as Dark Tower
It's also
was
interesting. There's a lot to talk about. Even though you and I have differing opinions, there's a lot of...
1,000-page book, 7 main character, 8 character. I mean, there's so much stuff in this. I like the music in the original a lot more too.
There's no good music in this movie. But also to be fair to it, you said like it went way too 80s with it. They could have had a fucking soundtrack from 80s hell, and they didn't.
It's a whole Guardians of the Galaxy thing that everyone's doing now because they're like, oh, the mixtape and the music from the time. But I just mean that, because we talked earlier about the auditory thing, about the scariness. The original miniseries has a very like creepy do and like clown music and shit. Anyways, it opens with the girl, tricycle, she's riding. She's coming in. She's like, oh, come inside. Her mom goes inside to do some work, and she's coming in, and she's getting off her bike or whatever, and the bed sheets are blowing in the wind, and you see it, and as one of them blows away, all of a sudden there's a clown behind it.
Which they took from Halloween.
Yes, I knew I was familiar somehow. And then she's like, did I see that? And then it blows away again, and Pennywise is going like,
yeah.
And it goes, and it's very like, she smiles. She's like, oh, a clown, he's cute.
Yeah.
I don't know if he has a balloon or not, but he's very like clowning, and then all of a sudden, her face changes, and then it blows again, and he's just fucking staring at her. No scary teeth, just like, and then it's like fucking angry, and then of course this is where budget things in TV movie. It's just a camera moving in slow motion towards her, and she screams. But that was so effective in establishing that character. Whereas here, the first scene we have with Georgie in the sewer drain, he's immediately, like you said, a monster, and he tries to go, do you smell the circus? Do you smell the peanuts? And I love popcorn.
Those lines.
Pop, pop, pop.
Wait, why? How did you end up down here? Oh, the wind blew us away. It blew away the whole circus.
I feel like that was a reference like Pee-wee's Big Playhouse or something. Big Top Pee-wee. I'm going to see if anyone else, I want to know. I feel like every line of dialogue from Pennywise was dubbed by the actor because he had a prosthetic front teeth in. And he had to stick his tongue out. I don't know, maybe he had a fucking thing in there, like Godfather style. And this is why I had a hard time with Pennywise, because when he talked, his voice does not match his mouth. And I don't mean like a martial arts movie dubbed into English. I don't mean that he's saying something different. I mean the inflections from his cheeks and his lips and his teeth don't sound the way I expect that big tooth, bottom lip clown to look like.
It's interesting you say that. So I'll be the I'll be the defender asshole. Okay, the asshole defender. If you, this is what I would say to myself. I would say, do you think that physically he has vocal cords?
Oh God, I knew you were gonna say some bullshit like that.
Just saying, like he's a extra dimensional being, right? His voice is constantly being thrown. He's doing things with it. So I think it makes sense to have the voice not feel quite as connected to the mouth. Hey, I told you it'd be an asshole. It'd be the asshole defense. It'd be an asshole defense answer.
Either way, that's the intro of the movie to the character, and that's a hard. I can get past that. Like the rest of the movie's gonna be fine. This is just the beginning. It's bad. He's not gonna talk much. But it was like, oh, but this is the quintessential scene of the movie, and it was just like, oh, it's so cringeworthy bad. And then he came in and talked into a microphone. He did this. He talked into a microphone in a studio, and they took this dialogue and put it in the scene. And he wasn't with the prosthetic when he did this, and it doesn't match.
So in the original script,
it's got a microphone off camera for a prop. It works out pretty well.
It plays out a little bit differently. There's like a very specific shot that either would be awesome or would make people laugh. Yeah. And so I can understand why they decided to not even risk it, because at one point he gets his arm torn off, and he's still crawling away, And
as a parent with a kid, like I don't know what my kid.
That was a hard scene to watch, even if you don't have a parent. I had a hard. And then they followed it right up with like lambs getting slaughtered. That was literally the next.
But the thing is like actually seeing a kid get his arm ripped off. He reacted like an adult would react.
Yeah.
I don't know that a kid would react the same way an adult would. Because an adult would be like
try to get away, or
a 5-year-old wouldn't know how to. Well, he's not. My kid's like he's like 8 or 9, and then that kid probably 7 or 8.
He's quite that old, but yeah.
It's the 80s, but who let their kids run around in the goddamn rain and galoshes and whatever. But his like kid would just break down, cry, and not know what to process. He was like, "Oh, get me out of here with my stub arm," and I was like, and it actually was scarier to me
I agree.
He was like, because it was like what an adult would do.
That was
an adult would fight. A child wouldn't fight.
He wanted to express the fear, right? Not just like break down where my brain's not working anymore. Right. But it's even scarier that enough of his brain is still working to try to get away. Right. It seems like anyway. So in the actual movie that we saw, it's the same exact thing, but then it cuts to this hand coming out, and it almost like it's seeming like it's longer than it should be. Yeah. And all this
I feel like they could have gone it longer with that one. Actually showed it go really
I'm glad that I thought that was cool that they cut it right before your brain started going like, that's not right.
I liked it when it was going longer. That would have been better.
And then it cuts to all the way back to the lady feeding her cat from the house, who you're like, how are you not fucking noticing this right now?
It does the same cheap tactic of character on the ground in front of a camera being pulled away from it. Like a la...
There's definitely a shot that comes like that before the kid's gone. You definitely see it. The camera moves all the way back to the house across the street, and you see it from over there. 100%.
Of Georgie already missing his arm on the ground.
Yes. And then it maybe goes back to getting close to him again.
He's wrong. It didn't
happen. Well, you can tell he's wrong. The reason I bring it up is because...
The scene goes whenever he's dead and there's a blood pool.
At that same scene where the camera goes all the way back to the neighbor, it racks the focus so that stuff is blurry.
The cat sees it.
Yeah, the cat sees it.
But you don't see the street. You see... Your perspective is looking at the house, not the street. He gets his arm ripped off. He's crawling away. They show a scene of the cat. They don't show what the cat sees.
I could have sworn they showed it from their perspective. Okay, well, in any case...
Maybe, I don't know.
In the script, you would have seen it from that vantage point. Mm-hmm. But it would have racked the focus, so it would have been blurry. But he's like a bright yellow jacket, so he would have got it. And it would have been like... Think of like a velociraptor with a chicken...
Yeah.
Just like whipping it, like trying to get him through the
that would have got a laugh. That would have been stupid.
Probably a good idea they didn't do it, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, anyway, sorry. It's just that's one of the little interesting differences.
It is interesting. That would have been a good job you didn't do that. Yeah. I think a lot of it.
Because I get it in your head, you're like you're really violent with a kid and everything like that, but you're also like might look a little goofy.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the opening scene of the movie, I guess.
We introduced the kids. Mike Hanlon first with the lamb stuff, which was interesting for me because having just watched the
TV
series, I'm like,
okay, so
interesting.
This is where they went more with the book, but also then went away from the book and also used the parts that. So Mike's parents are dead in this movie. Mike's parents, or at least his dad, is not dead in the book.
Or you don't see his mother. There's a whole lot of parents you don't see.
And he lives next to Henry Bowers. Henry Bowers being the big bully bad guy. They live on a farm, and he's the property next to them, and they're like at odds with each other.
Right.
They're the black family. Henry calls them the N-word. They don't like him because they're black. It's an upper northeast town, so they're all kind of white and stuff like that. Henry at one point kills Mike's dog in the book. Mm-hmm. Like, he's fucking bad. Costs him on the way home sometimes. Shit like that. In the movie, his dad's a cop. Henry's dad. In the movie, the book, he's just like a drunk idiot. But all that stuff is like, oh, they're going for that. And then I watch the movie, and then they kind of never get into any of that. The thing near the end where Pennywise puts a knife in the mailbox for Henry, that's from the book. And I was like, oh, okay, that's good. But they just left out all the stuff where Mike and Henry being neighbors causes the tension for why Henry hates Mike so bad. Also that he's black.
So, and this is a good time to talk about this.
I want to say, like, he kills, besides killing, maybe it's just the dog. I was like, maybe he kills their sheep at one point or one of them. But there's history between these characters that they pretended they were going to do in this movie, and they did none of it.
So the way it plays in the actual movie is, and I said it before, if I'm going to criticize something in the movie, I'm going to say it's the Mike Hanlon. Criticize something in the movie.
Also, the TV miniseries doesn't explore any of that. Mike's just
Right.
a character at school. So there's your three.
But they do
competing-
just like, he's black, get him.
Yes, but I'm saying that like the idea that him and his
Right.
dad knows Henry's dad.
So
and, you know.
in this movie, I think it's still
Think about Logan when he meets Tyler Perry.
Oh.
It's kind of like that.
When Logan meets Tyler Perry.
Logan Wolverine.
Yeah.
In Logan, when he meets Tyler Perry, and he has
Tyler
dinner.
Perry's in that. That's not Tyler Perry. That's not Tyler Perry.
I'm sorry, it's Tyler Perry.
Tyler Perry's not in Logan.
You guys know I'm right?
Tyler Perry's in Logan. You need to look it up.
I am doing that right now, but I'm going to tell you for
I
sure.
feel like the only movie I've ever seen Tyler Perry in is
Tyler
Gone
Perry.
Girl.
That's the same guy.
Okay, if you say so.
You mean the lawyer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the same actor.
I'm gonna talk about my other stuff. So in the new movie, Mike Hanlon, I think it still just plays like, hey, they don't like him because he's black and we're racist and that's it, which is actually what it is. But so in the original script, it's still the lamb, or the what do you call it, abattoir?
Also, if I'm wrong, why do I?
I don't know.
Anyways,
that's still a thing. His father is alive, and you get to see his mother as well.
I'm totally wrong, I guess.
Yeah, it's okay.
I must be thinking of Gone Girl.
Yeah.
I'm conflating that character, that attorney. Who the hell? I feel bad now.
It's okay.
Because I think I didn't know it was Tyler Perry, and then I looked it up after I saw Logan and was like, Tyler Perry's in Logan, and it's that character? Maybe, I guess not.
Anyway, Tyler Perry dresses up as all kinds of people, so he could be anybody.
Sorry, Alex Cross.
Yeah. Anyway, God, what am I talking about?
We got so sidetracked with that.
No, I'm trying to talk about the way Mike Hanlon is dealt with in the original script, because I think you'll think this is interesting, and then I want to know if this stuff is in the book.
Say it, yeah.
So Mike Hanlon, it's him and his dad, okay, and he is homeschooled. They all call him homeschool.
Mm-hmm.
And the big difference, the things that were just not in this movie at all, were when Henry and his gang are trying to. There's at one point.
Sorry, it's Eric LaSalle. I don't know why I thought that was Tyler Perry.
Stop fucking apologizing and let me finish this. When they're chasing Mike, they don't actually chase him into the Barrens like they do in this movie. In the script, they chase him to
Corey,
the place where the explosion happened. They killed all the kids.
Ironworks.
The Ironworks.
Yeah.
And
he hides, and then the bird. Oh no, they wouldn't have done the bird. Sorry.
no, but the character that I think his name is Patrick. One of the
boys.
One of the bullies.
I don't know for sure, but in these movies there's Henry Belch, another guy,
Patrick.
and I want to say in the book at least there was one called Moose.
Pretty sure his name is Patrick.
One of them was named Moose. Moose was like the big.
There's like 3 guys though in the.
But then like later on in the TV series there was like 5 of them at one point, right? So, but I think there was a character named Moose, and I say that because there's a reason why in the book. I'm pretty sure it's Moose, but anyways, we'll get
Gets
to it
killed
later.
by a moose. It turns into a moose. And kills him.
No, it's no.
Okay. Anyway, so what happens is it's kind of the same thing where he ends up. Would you stop with the Tyler Perry stuff?
No, I'm reading my notes of the TV series when I would say there was a sexual aspect to Pennywise, and he goes.
There's definitely.
When he asks him, he's like, "Do the balloons float?" And he goes, "Oh, Georgie, they float."
Yeah, I agree. I didn't make any notes, but like I made a mental note for sure.
He's like, "Oh, they float."
He loves floating things. We get it. He likes things that floats. He likes things that float really good. Yeah.
Oh, you floating good.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's a weird fetish, man. There's probably out there that got floating fetish, right? And they just have like pools, and they just
float on their
They
back.
just float in their. They just have sex on their floating devices.
Kind of like a David Carradine of sorts.
Yeah,
because he's floating.
He's kind of floating. He's hanging. Okay. Anyway, so
they could chase him somewhere.
Yeah. Good Lord. Anyway, he goes missing the exact same way. Like Pennywise gets him. Whatever. You know the guy who was blowing the fireballs with his thing? Okay. So same thing. Difference here being in this movie, it's just kind of like, oh, then the mom puts out a missing sign and that's kind of it.
Yeah.
There's more of a thing. So the cops are actually like looking for him, and Henry tells his dad, I know who did it.
He blames it
was
on
Mike. And the father, because his father's also a hateful asshole, is like, okay. And they go and arrest Mike, and he like kind of beats up Mike's dad because he like resists. And
I have a weird feeling there's something similar, not like they accuse him of murder, but something happens where Henry tells his dad that like Mike did something, I think. I think that's how it leads to him killing his dog.
So there is more there.
Yeah.
There's definitely more like bad blood or whatever between the two families. And
I'll say though, the scene when the guy with the flame,
Yeah.
I felt that was a good scare because it wasn't Pennywise, it was zombies. But then what happens? What happens when Pennywise shows up? He stands there and then moves really fast.
that wasn't great. I didn't like any of the Pennywise moving really fast stuff either.
That's what I'm saying.
I'll say
Okay,
that.
yeah.
But like, there's a scene where he moves really fast in the basement. But I thought the thing with the little brother was really good.
When he threw him in the water, it was great.
I thought the whole thing was so. In the script, he's supposed to be a hand puppet. It's interesting.
Yeah, I can kind of see that.
He kind of realized that his brother's talking because basically Pennywise is just like using him as like a human meat puppet. So
there's a lot to unpack in this stuff.
he gets arrested and all that kind of stuff, and eventually gets let go. There's a thing where he ends up being trapped in the morgue with Patrick's body. They end up finding it later or something like that, and there's some stuff there, just him getting scared more. But the part that's really interesting, really good, that I would have wanted to see, is
really good people. Here it comes.
So Mike Hanlon's dad is dying, like he's sick,
Right.
and like he's on the hospital bed or whatever. He's not going to last too long, and he wants to tell him like this last thing, like a warning, okay?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I know, don't have sex, don't do drugs. Like he thinks it's going to be something like that,
Yeah.
and then he tells him the story because he was there at the burning of the
Yes.
club.
I can say I'm pretty sure that's in the book.
That was cool because it was freaky. It would have gone back and forth between him telling the story and seeing that. And there's an actual scene where, to escape the flames, they were like jumping in. I guess it was up next to the. There was like a canal or a river or something. And Pennywise is just like fucking
Like a shark, just like taking one after another.
Basically, yeah. Like they're trying to get out of the water, and he's already made it to the shore, and he's seeing like them, and he's just like, nope, and they're getting like dragged down into the water. So his dad knows about Pennywise, and it has this whole historical angle.
There's a scene in the book about him it might be a flashback, or if he's telling him that the bar, the KKK, and they show up.
They call it the Legion.
Well, that's
Right.
a real thing.
But basically, it's the KKK. Yeah.
Fun fact: in that bar that was meant for like. First it was blacks only, and then they decided to intermingle and like let everyone in, which is kind of like after the World War II kind of thing. It was just like black veterans and things like that. The bartender from that bar is the guy who's in The Shining,
Right.
which again Stephen King's works all do this.
Yeah.
But he says he saw a big bird come down and literally take KKK members like into the sky. That was what he saw as far as Pennywise. So I don't know the canal part, but that one he's like when the whole thing was on fire, he was like talons would like fucking take people.
This is the stuff where like
But that is important because what happens in the movie later, Mike's vision is
the burning hands coming out of the thing.
which is again his dad doesn't die in the book or the thing.
They tell the story later, so
Yes.
because he does, but it's just Ben doing it.
I will say though, Pennywise in the fucking meat locker was pretty
The
good.
eyes
That
through
was
the thing,
pretty creepy.
and him just like convulsing like he's hooked on a meat hook.
But it goes back to him not being a fun clown. It's just immediately being a monster.
Just straight to monster. Will you
What?
Will you give me this? Just all the him not being a good clown stuff aside, would you say that this is a good movie monster? No, you won't.
It depends on what you're looking. He's scary.
Yeah. Okay. Shouldn't a good movie monster be scary?
I don't want a clown to be.
All right.
If you're going to be a clown, you have to have the clown qualities.
So they're also in the original script. By the way, I keep saying original script. I should probably actually just talk about it really quick. Cary Fukunaga is the you may know him because he directed the first season of True Detective, all of it. He did the whole damn thing. So probably a good lot of why you like that is because of him. That fucking thing was really dark, and it was very like real and fucked up. And he would have brought more of those qualities, I think, to this movie. It would have because he walked off the film like due to creative differences. Him and Warner Brothers couldn't get along, but his name is still on the script. And having read it, I would say that most of it, like the core of it, is actually still intact. But then there's these things, the Hamlin stuff with the flashbacks, not in the movie, obviously.
Right.
They also would have shot the. So again, you tell me if this is in the book. I'm assuming it is. The story of a lumberjack who like slaughters a bunch of people with an axe in a saloon, like way back when it was like a lumber town or whatever.
Yeah.
That is all. That would have been completely.
That's one of the
shown.
like. This happened 27 years before that. Before,
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, can
Like,
we?
you know, where it does the thing with the dates and the years. Like it's like
Yeah.
September. Like it would have done that, but like it would have been like 1888. You know, and
turn
done
my
things
mic
like
a little
that.
bit.
I wonder if that would have been good or bad.
I hope my mic hasn't been rubbing this whole time. Yeah, tell me if my mic.
I didn't notice it. It seemed fine to me.
It's pointing in the middle.
It's mine, okay? How's my mic, man?
It's
How's
fine,
my
but the thing
mic?
is, my
My
mic
mic look good?
pulls. It's hard doing the producing stuff.
We've been
when you're
talking about
on camera.
mic. Did that make you think to look at your mic because we said mic so many
No, I
times?
felt it. Okay, so the thing with the bird, his dad, his story, in this one we see the bird in hands. In the book, he goes to the ironworks, or he's cutting through a field, like a shortcut to the way home, and it's through the old ironworks or something like that. And
I can't hear you while you're pinching it.
I gotta move it. Probably making a lot of noise. He's cutting through the ironworks, and a big crow tries to eat him alive. He has to like hide in a pipe and run around. It's actually really hectic because he's running through all these broken down smokestacks.
Some of the stuff
you can't shoot a crow.
You just ask, would it be like playing to a modern audience?
Right,
and I think that the decisions there, because initially it's like Wolfman and Dracula and stuff like that. That's like terrorizing these kids, right?
But it makes sense because they were scared of monsters.
Sure,
at that time.
but it makes
that's the 50s. This is the 80s. At that time,
this
they were
is like their
watching
personal fears.
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna move on because we're only in the second scene in the movie.
It's a giant crow. It's actually in the book one of the more hectic, scary. It sounds stupid. It's a bird trying to eat.
That sounds stupid. Just some stuff would play better in a book than it would in a film.
It's one of the ones that actually is like pretty scary. Yeah. Where the hell are we?
The very beginning of the movie. Come on.
Sorry, I'm looking at the notes from the original, trying to figure out where. There's a scene. Okay, let's just talk about the kids all meet. They do the stuff that are individual scenes. Bill sees Georgie in the basement. Mm-hmm. In the original, it's the scene with the Georgie in the book. Richie sees the wolf.
I really like the basement scene. I also really like that it was a toy turtle. I love that. As a Dark Tower fan, I got it.
But and
then he drops it in the ground. It breaks as if to say, like, it's the beginning of the movie when things aren't looking up. You know.
But this is what I mean. Like he's walking out from having whatever that's dripping on him when he's sleeping, and he goes to get a bucket, and then like, the light in the bedroom turns on by itself. Like shit like that's just so like, really? If the light had been on, but then you see like, I see a shadow run in the hallway. Like that's just traditional scary movie shit. So I don't like it. Anyways, he does the basement in the original, whatever. Let's go to Richie. Richie in this one,
he doesn't really get the
until after everybody.
Yeah.
And his was just Pennywise, right?
I mean, because they said, "What are you scared of?" And he's looking at a park performance. He says, "I'm scared of clowns."
And then they go to the old house, and he finally gets locked in a room by himself with a bunch of clowns. Again, same thing.
I didn't even make that connection.
Really?
Yeah.
He gets locked in a room with a bunch of...
I just thought like he was the one that gets the clown bit.
Oh, no,
I didn't even think about it.
That was the only time I jumped in the movies when I think when he opens up the coffin, we're skipping around, but like, he gets in there and it says, there's a flyer, it says like, Richie missing. He's like, I'm not missing, motherfucker. He's getting scared. He gets locked in a room, a coffin opens up, there's clowns all over the place, mannequins. It opens up and it says found with his picture, and he's like, he's dead, right? And he looks in there and it's like a puppet of Richie with maggots. And then the movie's just, the sound is just like maggot sounds, and I'm like, this is so lame. Because the maggot sounds are just going, and it just sounds so like a sound library.
All right.
And it just sounds cheesy. And then the lid closes, and then Pennywise jumps out of the lid. That was like, I made me jump because I didn't think that was going to be the joke. Or because like when he walks by, one of the clowns in the background like turns his head. And I'm just like, that was the one that moved, but whatever. In the original, they go to the movies, and they see like the Wolfman, Universal movies, 50s. I was
a teenage werewolf.
Yeah. He sees a werewolf in the basement of the school, but you think that's just his thing. But later on in the book, this crack house is actually the culmination. It's weird because it's part book, part TV series, part its own thing. But in the book, the crack house is like, yes, that's the way down the well. Like that's all in the book. It's a little bit more of a fun house where like the hallway stretches really long, or like there's an invisible ceiling, and they kind of have to like go, this isn't real. There would be floor here. It wouldn't just be a hole into the nothing. And like I think he takes a step and there's actual floor, right? That's where in the TV miniseries, they shoot Pennywise with the silver, again, this is the 50s.
Earrings
so like,
or whatever.
It's like a silver bullet for a werewolf, right? So they have silver earrings. They think, that'll do it. And then she does the slingshot. Beverly does it. She's a crack shot. Hits Pennywise the clown. Part of his head breaks off and it's glowing. He goes down a drain in the sewers, and then when they try to grab his hand to don't let him get away, like the glove pulls off, and it's a fucking like three-fingered spider thing, right? In the book, he's actually fucking werewolf lookalike thing. So the idea of a silver earring, it's actually a silver bullet to a werewolf. So not only does Richie see the werewolf because he's scared of it, that's when they're in the house and they're kind of all fighting it. It's kind of this big hairy beast. So it's not just a werewolf because.
Okay.
And yes, Frankenstein, at one point, Henry Belch and the other one see it in the sewers, and he looks like Frankenstein.
Right.
Or he's Frankenstein. And he rips one of the kids' heads off and just beats the shit out of Belch's face, and then Henry goes crazy.
So I get it.
So Universal Monsters.
It works for a book.
Right.
One, you don't even want to fuck with Universal Monsters either. Like at this point, it's a Warner Brothers movie.
But I'm just saying, there are some weird things where it's taking parts of and making its own. So the old house is there. Okay. Ben
Library
is in the library. That was effectively scary, but again,
I didn't think it was scary, but I thought it was really fucking creative. Like the body coming down and then
no head.
Yeah.
But again, it was just like
dropping all the Easter eggs and stuff. I thought it was cool. Also,
when Pennywise is chasing him, it's just the same thing. It's just him going.
But I don't care about that part. But the part where the thing walking down the stairs, I thought it was cool. Also, when he's doing the thing where
there's a lady in the background.
Did you notice that?
Oh, that scared the shit out of me. Yeah.
And then when they switch to the actual librarian, she's in a completely different spot in the library, as if to be like, well, Pennywise gave him that book.
Oh, that was good. But that was a different librarian. Oh, you're saying because she came over there?
No, because the racked focus where it's blurry in the background.
But that lady is not the same one that gave him the book.
Is it? It's not?
No, she's wearing pink.
You're positive?
The lady in the background's wearing pink.
Oh, okay.
The lady is the other one. But yeah, it was weird.
Well, then that kind of goes back to like all the adults in Derry are fucking weird.
No, that was just I feel like that was just a little bit like Easter egg in the background, like just a creepy, but it had nothing to do with, like that lady didn't do anything. Or unless that was Pennywise dressed as an old lady or something like that. In the TV miniseries, I don't remember what. I don't remember the book. I don't know if this is the same.
Ben's like first run. It's hard because
Ben's dad died in the war. He died in the Korean War, so he sees his dad down in the Barrens near like the sewer pump area. He's like, "Hey, a son."
You know why these are more memorable in the new one? Because they tailored them specifically to the kids' fears. Whereas in the movie they were kind of like the TV movie they were more general.
No, they were this one specifically is his dad saying, "Hey Ben, why don't you come over here?"
Oh, you're right. I forgot about that.
This one's like he's just reading a book.
All right,
and it's
fuck
scary.
me. I'm sorry.
In the TV miniseries, he sees his dad out in the water, like Jesus.
I was just thinking of the shower one and just like I don't know.
It's just germs and he's alone.
But like a leper, I thought was good. Like
that's in the book.
Oh, is it?
I think the leper thing is in the book. Yeah, but not Pennywise holding a triangle of balloons. And they
but the leper I thought was effective. I thought that was the most great. Yeah.
But it was too silly, like special effects in the face.
I thought it worked. But yeah, I liked it. Anyway, who else we have?
Hold on. So Ben sees his dad. This is one I really like this in the original. Ben sees his dad, and he's waving him, and they cut back to Ben, and they cut back to the dad, and the dad's wearing his war uniform. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, his war uniform has pom-poms on it, like orange ones.
I remember that.
And then he comes back, and he has a balloon.
Yeah.
Or balloon first, then pom-poms.
Right.
Then he's just wearing like a fucking clown suit, and his dad. They do this thing where Ben's dad's voice starts to slowly morph into Pennywise. Mm-hmm. That's why I think Pennywise having that voice, that clown voice, is so effective, because it also happens later on when they're adults, which is just one thing I'm going to say. When she comes into town, the gas station's like, "Oh, go this way, lady."
Yeah.
It's past the Barrens. She's like, "What's the Barrens?" He's like, "Her." Like you hear the Pennywise come in, because Pennywise had a good voice. In this one, he has no real voice.
I think he did. I just think it's more. I feel like I can do the Tim Curry voice. I feel like if I watch the movie one more time, I can start doing it.
It's very distinct to the point where, like, did I think I hear?
I agree. It's more iconic.
If you hear Skarsgård do it, you know immediately it's a monster talking.
He actually throws a little bit of Curry in there. If you ever watch it again, he every once in a while, like he does do the Curry voice.
Yeah. So Eddie sees a leper in the original. He's in a shower. Pennywise comes out of the drain. All the shower heads are doing hot water and burning him. He can't get out. Beverly, both of them. It's in this one the 50,000 gallons of blood that come through the thing. Just that was a little bit too much.
I liked it.
The hair grabs her though. That was kind of creepy.
I liked all of it.
That's like The Grudge. Like that's already been, I feel like everything of whatever.
You're not wrong.
Okay, so the blood. She sees blood. Her dad.
For the amount of blood, because when he comes in, like, so in the original thing, it's obviously not as much.
Yeah.
It's like somebody took a bucket and went like this.
Well, it's a balloon full of blood that pops.
Right.
So there's only that much blood.
But then she does the thing where she says she saws a bug, which also kind of makes you go back to thinking that it's.
Does he actually?
Like, does he see the?
Right.
Is it just such a big bug that whatever? I thought she was a really good actress. That scene when he comes in and imagine being the director and being like, you need to communicate how confused and frightened you are. At the same time, you're scared, but that your dad is not registering. Like, and it doesn't come off like a mumbly, but it is kind of like a, but
don't you see?
Blood.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the amount of blood, I think,
was
informed
ridiculous,
that performance.
But I think the performance was fine. I think her sticking the thing down the drain was kind of interesting.
That's in the original script.
But it's weird because when it pulls out its blood, you get the person in the audience is like, oh. I'm like, yeah, it's blood and hair. Come on, dude. Who do we got left? We got
Stan. Stan was the
Stan saw two dead
painting thing.
Yeah, the painting, and that was really scary and gross, but it's just not necessary.
Let me tell you what it was and I think probably better. This is an example better in the script. Didn't do it because they're kind of pussies. Because his thing,
and it's rated R, so there's nothing to hide here. There's no we had to do.
They didn't want to because this is a very mainstream movie. Even though it went to some pretty dark places.
You murder children though.
I know, but there's no lot of sex stuff. Where there's a shit ton of sex stuff in the book, and a fair amount of sex stuff in this original script. So. He's still at the thing where he's practicing the Torah or whatever, and he's I gotta pee, and Rabbi's like fine, and he doesn't think he's gonna make it to the actual bathroom. I don't remember what they call it, but there's some kind of a thing that's for ladies. I
wish I had my cushion, but I had to be the same height.
I'm sorry, I don't know much about this. I'm sorry to people that are Jewish. Don't
What?
It was like a washroom specifically for women.
Like religiously, men shouldn't be in here.
It's like a pool almost or something.
Okay.
That they're supposed. I think that has something to do with cleaning their stuff up. I think. Okay. I don't know. It was a little bizarre to me because it was not something I've ever seen before or heard of before.
Right. Okay.
But he's like, I can't make it, so he goes in there to pee, and a girl, like a beautiful, sexy lady, naked, rises up out of the water and is like super. Hitting on him and sexy time stuff.
Yeah.
And to the point where she's like, oh, don't you like me? And she's putting her hands down where you can't see and probably massaging her stuff.
No wonder he had creative differences with this movie.
So, and then it does the thing from The Shining, which seems like it was a pretty clear homage to it, where the camera shoots from the back and her backside is just sores and eaten away and decayed and she ends up standing up, her legs are gone and this whole thing. So his stuff was racked up in repressed sexuality.
Yeah.
Which they decided not to do that. Now, as a result, the movie kind of everybody else I kind of get, but Stan's is sort of
it's just this creepy painting that's been in his dad's office he doesn't like.
Yeah.
In the book, it's two dead boys that were drowned.
Okay.
I don't remember the circumstances. In the original TV series, it's the mummy, basically.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not the mummy. Ben sees the mummy in the book, I think. Ben actually sees a mummy, and it's literally a universal mummy. I feel like in the TV series, Stan sees the mummy. In the book, Stan sees two drowned boys. There's all that.
Okay. So now we got all the scares.
Henry has no dad in the original. Henry has the dad here who's the cop. In the book, Henry's dad's drunk. At one point, Henry's dad's very abusive. Henry kills his own dad.
Yeah.
And he does it with the knife that Pennywise gives him. So at this point, Pennywise is actually manipulating Henry to...
I don't want to talk about any of the Henry stuff in the script, because if we ever get to the end of the movie, the stuff that you're going to find the most fascinating is how much the end of the movie differs from what
So
we
all I'm
got.
going to say is that this bond between the kids being too strong that Pennywise can't actually fight them or is kind of scared of them. He needs a human being in the physical world who has no,
right.
It doesn't matter if he fears them. So Henry becomes his vessel.
Which, by the way, the TV program that he's watching,
oh, I love that. Did you catch when Beverly goes in and it's this girl playing this? Oh no, Eddie.
In fact, I think that any time a TV is actually playing in the movie, it is playing that.
Eddie comes home and it's we all want to play in the sewers.
Right.
And
the sewers are fun to play in.
And I thought something was going to happen there, and it never did, but that was really good. Yeah, the kill him. Oh, yeah, sorry, Eddie's mom is one of the things I want to talk about. In the original, she's kind of an older lady. You can tell her husband died or left her, so Eddie's her only thing. She pretends it makes him think he's sick. He tries to keep him around because she cannot be in the world with anybody. So this is the only person she's trying to covet him. In this one, his mom is just kind of a fat creepy old lady.
You can for all that. Like, and she's a shut-in. She's big. She's stuck in her lazy boy. She's eating Twizzlers all day long while she's
but it's
watching
just
TV.
That was they like cast Melissa McCarthy and like let's make fun of her because she's fat again. Like,
I mean, this is just you're always gonna have the difference between a movie and then a Stephen King, where literally every single character is gonna get like an entire backstory. I thought she was fine. I liked her a lot better. I bought Eddie and his mother more in this movie than I did in the original TV movie.
The original TV series was much better.
And I love that he said, "These are gazebos." I was funny.
And I didn't think it was funny at all.
Fucking funny.
The girl tells her the medications are placebos. He calls them gazebos by accident. All
right, so the structure of this is that Ben is getting picked on. But I'm trying to move this along.
I would we're skipping past like all the plot. We did with
not
the kids.
really.
Not
this
really.
is kind of like the next
it's okay
thing.
too. Like we went through.
I'm just thinking of the big things here because like Ben, this is how everybody links up because Ben, Beverly is having a bad day and just by happenstance runs into Ben at the end of school. And
you back it way at the beginning of the movie. I don't care.
I know, but I'm saying the point. But that's important because that's the connection because she knows who Ben is. That's it.
Yeah.
Because everything else is just all random happenstance, but it starts with that. So later, Ben's running away from bullies, and he runs away from them. And as he's doing that, the other 4 kids that already know each other, Bill, Stan, Eddie, and Richie, are checking out the pipes. They're going to go look because he's got an idea about the sewers. Looking for Georgie. And that's where Ben kind of stumbles into them. They, being the good guys that they are, help Ben out.
Yeah.
This is also when Henry loses his knife and he freaks out about it because this is his dad's knife. This is also when one of the gang goes missing, which isn't really important. It's just kind of...
so I'll these are the only two tying together. So one of the gang, he gets killed in the sewers by Pennywise. In the book, this is going to get a little weird. Something happens, I don't remember how far in this is, but there's a part where it's kind of the same thing, where the gang's out in the Barrens. It's like a trash area where people dump their old refrigerators and shit. And I think Beverly's out there, and she's like, oh shit, she's spying on them. She's watching Henry and the other guy because she doesn't want to get caught. And I want to say it's Moose. He has a thing where he's been using an old refrigerator as like a trap for injured animals. Like to get up, because he's I get it. Yeah. So these kids, like they start torturing animals, and then kids, they could become perverts. Henry tries to teach him about jerking off.
I heard about this scene.
Where he touches the other one and goes, now you touch me.
Yeah.
And then you get your first inkling of like, oh, Henry's a psychopath, not just the bully. That's why it doesn't match up for me in this movie where he's a little bit more hardcore. In the original, he's just kind of a tough idiot. In the book, you're like, oh, he's a sociopath.
Yeah.
He's fucking crazy. He goes, it's not gay.
Yeah.
What do you? He goes. I mean, I'll just say. I think when he goes like, what do you think? I'm a faggot or something? I'm not. This is just. It just feels good. Let's just do it, right? Yeah. And then he pushes Henry away. And he's like, dude, this is gay. I don't want to do this. So you kind of get the point that Henry is way past the bullies. Like the part like, oh, you're gonna cut him, Henry? I thought we were just messing with him. Like Henry is fucked up.
Yeah.
This movie doesn't explore any of that.
That's not true. He cuts into the flesh of...
What I'm saying is it doesn't get you to the point of like, you don't understand why Henry's as bad as he is.
I understand.
You think he's just a really bad bully, but he's not. He's beyond this. He's a fucking sociopath.
I think the dad... Again,
at that point...
if you feel like I am doing too much work to step towards the movie, that's fine. But like for me, all of that stuff is inferred.
But here's one of the things, like, this is why I go to like creative choices. You could have put something small from the book like that in, and it would have changed Henry a lot. Like, to the viewer. You would have been like, that 1 2-minute scene you put in made you go, oh, I see him in a whole different light. He's way worse than I thought he was, And they go, now I see why he's so fucked up. Not just he's a bully who's taken it too far. Regardless, then then Moose gets killed by Pennywise by a bunch of, like, leeches. Like, they jump and they grab him and they, like, swell up and steal all his blood. And then Beverly sees that. Like she sees one of the gang members get killed by Pennywise. But it was really one of these things of like this weird sexual erotic, but like Henry's mindset's just really way out
Stephen King has always had, it's always been there.
Right.
Okay? That's why you read The Dark Tower and you go like, oh, Roland, Roland sticks his gun, does he put his he's put his gun in her thing?
Right.
And I don't know, is he doing an abortion or giving her an orgasm or both?
Yeah.
But now the demon's gone. I don't know. But he wants to fuck her too. I have no idea. It's Stephen King, you know. And then there's succubuses that, you know, want to have sex, and then demons later that want to rape you, and then if you let them rape you, they don't like it, and, you know, there's all kinds of stuff. So, like, it's Stephen King.
Anyways, I just wanted to get that one weird part of the book that I didn't get in. So they become
Ben
friends.
is injured, so they want to patch him up, and so that's how they end up at the...
That's how they get with Beverly to kind of come hang out with him, too.
Right.
I feel bad for Ben because it happens to both of them. Ben writes her this poem. He's already immediately in love with her.
Yeah.
And then when she gets together, she thinks Bill wrote it, and she's got a crush on Bill.
Right.
And I was like, and then Ben's just like, oh, fuck me.
Yeah.
Like, I liked her, and I brought her here, and then she doesn't even care about me, but whatever.
I mean, that's really where I wanted to get, because everything else going forward now is just kind of like varying levels of, you know.
Then all the stuff happens with the each one has the Pennywise thing we talked about. They talk about it. Then there's the rock fight.
I love the rock fight.
So
it was such a deliriously wonderful, weird tone thing that I was way into.
In the TV miniseries, Mike's running away from Henry and the gang.
Yeah.
That he's like,
Same thing.
He hops the fence, runs into the quarry, and is like, help me, and this is where they meet Mike. Here they kind of know who Mike is. They're like, oh, that's the homeschool boy.
And they kind of have like a, you know, like him and Richie will trade barbs and go back and forth and stuff in the movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because he's like homeschool and he's like, you know,
not right away
me.
though. I don't remember any of this.
A little bit.
Whatever. They kind of knew who Mike was. They saw his bike. They're like, oh, let's go help him. Because at this point, we're a group of 6. Beverly's the strong one, or the strong-minded. Let's go help Mike. Go there. And she throws a rock at Henry. And then they're like, you know, let's throw rocks at each other. And literally, Richie goes, rock fight or rock war.
Yeah, it was great.
Okay. In the TV miniseries, it's a serious moment. They're throwing rocks at each other. You know, Beverly gets hit. She's like, ow. Ben just goes, "Raw fucking Henry!" And he just goes and tackles him and starts beating the shit out of him, which is kind of like Henry's is a paper man. You know, Ben actually could beat the shit out of Henry if he wants to. They just don't know their own power.
I think it was both. I think it was funny, and I think it was triumphant at the same time.
So in this new movie, they have a rock fight. Okay. And all of a sudden, it's just... And I was like in the theater going, what the fuck is happening? What is going on? They're playing like death metal and it's just like rock and fucking guitar. And I'm like, what is the tone here? Slow motion, oh, fuck you. What is going on? What movie is this?
I have to see it a few more times before I can comment on this with more thing, but I liked it.
The tone of that scene does not match the rest of the movie. It's so ridiculous.
Every time
it's silly.
Every time I go to a rock fight,
a rock war,
I play.
Go to the rock war.
I play that music to psych myself up.
Wait, was he saying a rock war?
I said rock fight or rock.
No, but was that allegory?
It's rock and roll.
A rock war? No, Iraq. They were throwing rocks at each other. Iraq, the war, the country.
Oh.
Was there some kind of stupid thing there, like the Iraq War?
Predicting it, yeah.
Was that, anyway.
And Back to the Future predicted 9/11.
This was 89, so Desert Storm wasn't about the...
Did you know that Back to the Future predicted 9/11? You haven't seen that video?
No, but
I'm going to send it to you.
No, it was bad. And then, whatever.
It was good.
But then Henry gets kind of shown as like a weak, and then Richie says like, go suck your daddy's dick, and then does one of these. Like, that was good.
Yeah.
That was Richie being Richie, because it was just like, okay, we're safe for a minute here. I'm going to fucking mouth off and give him one of these. In the TV movie, they're in a movie theater, and Eddie accidentally knocks his popcorn off the balcony, and it lands, and they look, and it's fucking Henry, of course. And so Eddie just goes, have a drink with your popcorn. Richie. And then he fucking pours his soda over there on Henry. And you're just like, oh, you're going to die.
Yeah.
Anyways.
By the way, I like that, it's a different time period. You can't have them saying beep, beep, Richie, because everybody would be like, what the fuck does that mean?
Why?
Why can't they?
Yeah.
Because what the fuck does that mean?
What does it mean in the 50s?
Something to somebody in the 60s. I don't know. But I like that Pennywise still said it.
See, but I feel like that's cheap. That's just like
I enjoyed it.
Because in the TV miniseries, and I don't know if it might be in the books, when Richie would start talking too much or say something, they're like, beep, beep, Richie. And beep, beep was like, shut it.
So now that all 7 of them are together, they're going to start like coalescing their different experiences, and Ben's gonna bring it all home because he knows all about the town's history and everything.
Yeah. So you're talking about the scene in the garage with the slides?
Yeah, I mean, there's multiple scenes like that because they've talked to each other, but the
projector goes off on its own. They start seeing pictures of Pennywise, and then it gets knocked over, and then Pennywise comes out of the wall, and he's the size of a house.
It was delightful.
And it's stupid. I don't even want to talk about it. There's nothing to talk about. He runs in there, and they open the door, and Beverly was scared. Whatever.
Yeah.
Whew. But again, there's a lot of infighting between Stan not wanting to do it and Richie's being too scared. And in the original, there's a lot more help me. There's a scene here they do where Bill gives a speech outside the house, and Richie goes, "Oh, he didn't even stutter once," and it was very much like, "You got to help me here." The TV miniseries is much better. Bill's like on the verge of crying, and he's like, "You killed my brother, you bastard," and he's just like, "Help me. I can't do this on my own." And there's a lot more hugging in the original. They would get together, all seven, they would hug. It's just like what this is missing, the older one had. Before they go in the sewer to fight Pennywise in the old one, Eddie has this fucking inhaler, and Richie grabs it, and he does it. And they all take a puff of the inhaler together to show, like, a bond. And Stan's the last one. Stan's like, all right, I'll do it, right? But, like, this movie has none of that. It never has a scene like that where, like, oh, that's so cute. Like, they all took a puff. They all wanted to show Eddie that they're there. Like, no matter how scared you are, Eddie, we're here for you.
They all hug each other.
But it's not the same.
There's one big hug. They would do a one big hug.
There's one point where Mike hugs Beverly and then like another one comes in or something like that. I don't remember. The TV miniseries, I feel like they earned the relationship between the kids more, and they all had more trust besides a little bit of Stan. Whereas this one, like I said, there was constantly fighting. Where Richie says many times, "It's summertime, we should be out playing," and then at one point Bill goes, "If I have to fucking hear you say about summer one more time, you know."
I think that, you know what? I don't disagree with you. I think it was.
I'm gonna pull you to my side.
No, you won't. No, you won't, because I still think it all works, even if it's just doing something different. I do think it's more of them really like coming together at that last part at the end. So I agree, but it's when they come together and you have that strength at the end of the movie where all of that tension kind of builds up towards. So whereas the TV miniseries, and I guess by virtue of the book, yes, is more interested in like really getting that bond all together before for a long-standing.
So when I talk about this being my favorite book, it resonated with me in a way, and it has a lot to do with the kid stuff. The reason why Goonies is my favorite movie. You want to go back and like relive this life where like I want to have this group of kids that like the friends that I grew up with are just like not in my life anymore. And I would like to have lived in like in a small town or anything where like I had friends that my whole life we had. Remember when you were like into kindergarten and this thing happened? Like I don't have any of that. But that's like my dream. I kind of want that for whatever. These kind of scratch that itch, and I feel like the TV miniseries does a better job of it. Of what I would want.
No, I don't disagree with that. I don't think nostalgia plays that much into this movie.
Right, but I think that's maybe why me. Why does this affect me so much?
I think nostalgia's cool. People like nostalgia. I don't really think this movie's playing on nostalgia.
No, I'm saying that's why I think the other two are better.
No, I'm just saying I think fine.
Because they have a personal thing to what I want,
I just think it's different. But I get it. It's playing it darker. It is not playing it like a warm, fuzzy thing.
Yeah.
You know what? People are weird.
Yeah, I do know that.
I'm talking to people, at work and stuff. I'm recommending the movie because, like, even though it's making $1 gazillion, I'm like, hey, have you gone to see it? Yeah, like, make sure you go see it. And like, oh yeah, it's like real scary. And I'm like, no, it's just like in my opinion, I think it's just like a good movie. I couldn't like get it like, oh, go see it because it's really scary. No, it's not Paranormal Activity. Go see it because...
But that's the thing is I don't agree with the bonding of the character. I think for maybe most people they'll just take it as it is, but I'm
talking to the wrong person about it.
Right.
But a lot of the people that really like this movie aren't saying like, oh shit, it scared me the shit out of me.
From the audience I was in, it seemed like the thing everyone got out of it was the last of the dick jokes, and then more dick jokes, and then the scares.
Well, the other thing that I was going to say is that somebody's like, oh yeah, it's like the Goonies. I'm like, no.
See, it
I get where you're. I know. I get where you're kind of going for because it's but little kids and an adventure, but no, it's not the. What is it like? I'm like, it's just go fucking see it. Like that's anyway.
It's like Monster House, the animated.
Fair.
There was like the Goonies guy.
Yeah, I like the Monster House. Monster House is like the Goonies.
Yeah, it was made by someone that was on that was very much like
sense.
It wasn't like Richard.
Okay, so at some point they decide we know where he's at. We think he's in that well in the house. We're gonna go get him on his turn. Or really, they don't prepare at all. They're really just gonna go and look.
So yeah, they go in and
get
like
the fun house.
There should be a lookout because someone doesn't want to go in. For some reason, out of 7 of them, only 3 of them go in.
They're too scared. They drew straws.
But 6 of them should have, or I'd say 5, and then 2 should stay out. But yeah, Eddie gets pulled aside. Eddie falls aside, breaks his arm.
I loved all this stuff.
I think it was It's just like doors closing and locking.
That was fucking cool. But scary, not scary at all. Very, very scary. I like that a lot.
That was funny. Yeah, there's a choice. They run back and the doors have changed and there's 3 doors and one says scary as hell or really scary.
Yeah.
And one says not that scary. And they're like, well, let's just go for the not
and then
that.
it's like one of the little girls and she's like torn asunder.
Yeah.
But then they say like it's not real and they like just go through it, right? I like the stuff with Eddie where he breaks his arm. I like just all his germaphobe stuff. I like the whole scene where
Pennywise is about to get him.
Unfurls out of the refrigerator.
The visual effects are great.
And he does this kind of like little dance, and I don't remember. He says something.
He was fake wheezing too. He was making fun of Eddie. And okay, so like, why didn't he kill him right away? Because people would say that like, oh, why didn't he eat him? You know, again, Pennywise likes to. I think I was just telling I didn't talk about it here. I was talking to we were in the kitchen telling my son about it. He was asking me.
The chemicals that flood the muscles when you're scared is like salt. It's like seasoning.
Pennywise is like that baby meat tastes great when it's scared.
Yeah.
You know. So he's just fucking with Eddie as long as possible to keep it going. You know how you think like he hears something, so he kind of turns away from Eddie? It's not that he heard anything, is that he felt the power of Bill and Richie going, fuck you, Pennywise.
Yeah.
We don't believe this shit. And that made him like, what?
Yeah.
You know?
See,
But I was so mad that he didn't have his hands on his face. Eddie was supposed to pull the inhaler out and stew him in the face with it.
See, I think the inhaler scene got replaced with the goat.
The gun.
The goat gun.
Yeah.
It's the same idea, because that communicated
but
like it was your belief that
should have been how he kind of got out of that thing, and then all of a sudden Beverly just shows up and puts a fucking poker through his head.
I thought it was good.
It was good. I'm just saying, and then they're all just like, ah!
And I like the way he retreated. I like he just slowly and just kind of. He almost turned like catatonic. Again, this is the parts where I get to that where I talk about like, oh, he's a creature.
Yeah.
Like his eyes. By the way, you know his eyes actually just do that. That's not a digital effect.
Shut up.
Go look at pictures of him. He can do that with his eye.
Really?
Yes, that was like
just
planned
roll
from the
them
beginning.
backwards like
he
that?
can make them both go in different directions. And
But how far? That far?
I don't know, but I know that beginning scene. He's like, I'll do one where I look at the camera and one where I look at Georgie.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Anyway.
Oh, it's like a lazy eye?
Yeah.
But he can't do the thing where it rolls
No,
back. Oh,
that's
okay.
obviously a digital effect. But I just mean like how he kind of just generally doesn't look like he's quite focusing.
Did I
on
already
you.
say it? I think I might have said it, but like I'll go like I like that part was every time he would open his mouth and the creature would kind of come out of the mouth and the teeth would show and the eyes would roll back.
Yeah.
I did like that. I liked that there was a creature.
Yeah.
There was a physical thing that was like in the
That's
skin.
what I was saying. Before, to me, it's just like, oh, he's a ghost.
But I didn't like that the deadlights were on the inside of the mouth thing.
Interesting. You know it well. Okay.
What?
Nothing. We'll talk
Original
about it.
script?
Yeah, but we'll talk about it later.
Okay, whatever.
We're not there yet.
He goes down the drain.
This is they have their big fight.
Yeah, he goes down the drain. They come back and say, "We got to go."
And they're like, "Fuck this! We almost died."
Yeah.
No, that's not true. There's no. This is where they split. This is the point where they get in the big fight, and then now they don't hang out with each other for a little while.
Yeah. And then Beverly has the confrontation with her dad.
Mm-hmm. Now, in the script, in the original script, it's played like, at least Beverly thinks this anyway, that's not her dad. It's Pennywise being her dad.
Yes. That's part.
But I think it's a lot more powerful if it's like with Henry, where it's just him giving him a little push.
It's giving him a push. It's not that he's controlling her dad. It's that he's like putting he's talking in the ear. Yeah, so absolutely.
In the movie, though, it plays like that's actually just her dad, right? Okay, that's.
But
good.
I think that it's a little bit of both.
Also, in the script, again, I don't know about what's going on in the book.
I don't remember.
In the book from what you remember, is Beverly's dad molesting her?
I don't think so.
Okay, so everybody I talked to seems to also agree that that's never happened.
Right.
In the original script, that scene, which is not in this movie, is a whole thing where he is going to rape her. Like
I felt like when she was on the ground and he grabbed her legs, I was getting nervous.
It's all implied.
I was getting nervous for a scene where I have a kid, he struggles when you grab him by the legs or grab him by the arms, something like that. And he was doing that, and I was like, please don't turn it where he grabs her legs and then does this with them. Because then I'm like, oh, fuck. And this is... it's not bad. The movie does what it wants to do, but I'm like, don't add things the movie doesn't need.
I'm glad that they didn't
bad
do
enough
that.
as it is, right?
Because
it's like the thing with Rambo, where the bad guy also happens to be a pedophile.
Right.
He's already so bad. He
I
doesn't
know.
need to fucking,
And he's a gay pedophile.
Right,
The worst kind.
Right.
Anyway.
It makes them beyond. It doesn't make them real anymore.
I'm glad they didn't do that. In the original script, it's extremely explicit. Like he's about to take his pants off and like the whole thing. So, she knocks the fuck out of her dad with the top of a septic tank cover. And
septic tank.
Right.
toilet.
And this is what you're saying, and I get what you're saying. This is where she turns into like a damsel in distress. She gets kidnapped by Pennywise.
But it's so weird. Like, how did he? Why was? And then how does the power? I don't know.
I feel like we already talked about it, but in case I didn't say it before, I feel like the reason why was because she's the strongest one. Strategically, that made sense to take her away to make them less powerful, cohesive.
Yes.
They'd be less of a group. They'd be worse of a group if she wasn't there.
Okay, so she gets taken down. She wakes up. It is a cool scene down there. It's like all the bodies and all the trash that's been accumulated. Then you really think, and this is why it's different for me, like in the book and stuff, I think maybe it really was this fucking traveling circus thing from the 1800s that, for all reasons we don't know now it's a fucking monster. Because that's not, Pennywise is just the thing he decided, like, that works really good.
Yeah.
Actually, one connection is Ben looking kind of at the book in the library. It's the same picture over and over, and he sees the head. Mm-hmm. I feel like that was a nod to Mike in the original when he shows them all the pictures of the old-timey shit. Oh, no, that's actually the garage.
Yeah.
The garage scene is
they
what
showed like the old drawings, and you can see Pennywise in it.
I like the original when they were showing pictures, and they had a picture from like 1906 or whatever, and there's like he's in the background, and all of a sudden the scene starts to move. Yeah. That was fucking great. He's doing backflips down the street, and he climbs the light pole. There's another one of Pennywise being a clown again. And then the fucking hand comes out of the book. Oh, it's so good. So good. Go watch the original. Go watch the 1990 thing. It's really good. It's dated, but if you just let it take over, think about watching the original Dawn of the Dead or Day of the Dead. There's movies from the 80s and 70s. Let the time period wash over you. Just look at the characters, look at the acting, look at what they're doing. It's really good, I think. Anyways.
So there's some fun stuff in between.
Wait, so they kidnap Beverly. She goes to the thing. He picks her up. I'm not scared of you. And then the dead lights. And then the floating thing.
I don't know, but it was cool.
I don't know. A book, I don't remember if there's a thing with the floating, if it means anything. But
they'll float down there.
The whole thing with the floating and the balloons, at least in the TV miniseries, was like he's kind of like a spider. He would wrap them up in a web in a big cylindrical thing, and they would float because they're on a web. Here, they're just fucking floating. Literally, just like as if the tower is a planet, and they're just like, what the whatever.
Thought it was cool.
It's interesting to look at visually, but it also
they keep saying we all float down here, like over and over again. That was exactly what I imagined.
But again, I don't know why, and who cares if you float. The fact that he eats you and kills you is more important than you're floating.
There was some I guess now is as good a time to talk about this stuff as any. So, in the original script,
yeah,
and this is where you can kind of tell me what's going on with the book. So.
I think I don't remember very specific things like that.
But I know you know that it was weird because I've heard enough about this now that I know that it was a lot weirder than what we got. So in the movie they're just in the sewers, and occasionally there's things that are fucking with him. Georgie's there, Stan's painting is there, and it's chewing on his face. That was fucked up.
Did it actually transport Stan, or did Stan walk ahead and then
No, Stan, they're getting, fucked up about where they are, and I didn't really see, things...
Because Stan was looking down the hole, because he sees Pennywise, and then he turns back, and all of a sudden he's not there anymore. Is that just Pennywise, was too strong, and Stan was too weak, that Stan just transported to the place farther away?
Maybe. I can't remember.
I don't know if that was, a cut thing. Stan didn't walk ahead, and they went back because of Mike. Stan was with them at that point, and then I think Pennywise scared him so much that allowed Pennywise to kind of slip in and physically move Stan.
Guess we're kind of skipping. Henry kills his dad at the behest of...
Yeah, I said that.
In the script, he kills the fuck out of his dad. He stabs him a million times, and it's actually, you don't see it happen, but one of his friends walks in, and his dad's just got multiple stab wounds, and the knife is just sticking out of his eye socket. And he's sitting in his dad's chair with his gun saying, it's my gun now.
I feel like the gun thing was in the book, possibly.
So, and also, Henry forces his friends to come with him to go after them.
Yeah.
And at one point, when one of them doesn't want to or rejects, he fucking stabs him. He kills one of his friends.
Yeah, I don't think
and then the other friend is really fucking scared and will do whatever he says. So, anyway, so actually, I'm doing this right. Okay, so it's weird in the script because you're reading a script and it's already kind of
it's not a narrative structure.
It is, but it's hard because it's already trying to be weird and surreal. At one point, they're being chased by Henry and they go through a small door kind of thing, and they kind of fall out in this other thing, and they land on a membrane. And on the bottom of the membrane are just billions, millions, I guess, of little baby spiders. And they're fuck, and they gotta gingerly get across it. And Henry can't fit through the hole because he's too big, but his friend can.
Yeah.
He gives him the knife and he says, "You fucking go." And his friend can fit and kind of lands. And as soon as he does, he's like, "No, guys, I'm trying to." He's fucking crazy. Like, what he doesn't realize is that with the knife, he's
puncture the membrane.
The way it describes it is, it actually wouldn't be pretty.
God,
creepy.
I wonder. I feel like this might be part of this stuff. Might be in a book.
So
the book. I don't know.
Like the kids are noticing that as they crawl, every time they put pressure down somewhere, the spiders are and like they can't get through, but they're
like
to wherever there's pressure.
That part. Yeah.
And he.
The fact that you said pressure and there's a point, I feel like this might be in the book, but anyway.
So he cuts the membrane, and obviously all the spiders come out and eat the shit out of him, and they get out. And Henry is hearing all these screams, and he's like, "Yeah, you got him. Good job." And I'm trying to remember. I don't remember what else happens to him, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so anyway, they keep going down, and they find because this isn't a rescue mission. Like they're all together, like in the original script. They didn't do this thing with. They all decided to go.
Right, and that's what I like. I like that more than the rescue mission.
I understand why this did this. It gave it a little bit more urgency. Okay, so they end up in the same. You can tell it was the same kind of a set piece with all the trash and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm trying to picture this. I'm going to try to describe it to you the way that the script describes it to me, okay? Imagine going in and you look up and there's like just the galaxy.
Yeah.
And water is going in reverse gravity. And all the water that's pouring into that place from all the sewers is reverse waterfalls that are going straight up into like a watery pool up in the sky. And Beverly goes as a callback to the part where she jumps off the cliff at the quarry before everyone else.
Yeah, by the way, that quarry scene
was fucking huge.
I was like, that's really far.
Yeah, I don't blame anybody for not wanting to jump that.
That is not even anywhere near safe. Those were not for kids.
So she jumps in the waterfall.
Wait, so for all the dick jokes they had, there was no like, I have a boner in my underwear and I have to hide it.
I know, right?
Anyways.
So she does this, she jumps, and then as she's falling, it's like going through the center of the earth and gravity reverses.
I was going to say she's going to swim up the water.
And she lands in the water.
Yeah.
Okay? So now all the kids see that happen and they go, okay. And so they all do the same thing. Now they are in...
Hold on. Let me adjust this mic. I don't know where it's pointing. Okay.
Am I okay? How's my mic?
You've been fine.
How's my mic?
You got to make sure. Just point, I don't want it pointing towards the middle. Anyways.
So they do this, and now they are in... So now when they look up, they see what is referred to as an oculus. I don't understand what that means, but I assume they see whatever...
Oh, it's like a VR headset?
Yeah, they see a VR headset.
I mean, ocul being like eye.
I guess. So it must look like
our video camera software is called Ocular or Ocularis.
Right.
So circular eyeball thing.
Because it's so like high, so far away that it doesn't look like the ground that they were on
You're
anymore.
intriguing me. Continue. I like
All
this.
right, so now they're in water, like the same way they were in the quarry, and they see an island. And they're going to swim, and the island has some kind of a monolithic structure on it, something. So they swim towards it, and much the way they did in the quarry, they're like, Richie, knock it off. And I'm over here. So there's something underneath us. And
by the way, there was a scene in the quarry where Ben goes underwater. You assumed there was going to be a Pennywise scare in there, and it just didn't.
Am I crazy, or did he say it was just a turtle?
He goes, there's a turtle under there, and he goes to look at it.
So there's this two
turtles all the way down.
Turtles all the way down. So this is the way it describes it, is a giant starfish-style creature.
Baron Munchausen? No, it's not starfish. They go inside of a big fish at one point. And the gravity literally turns upside. I mean, this is Terry Gilliam, so they fall into water, and then they come out the bottom of the water,
right?
And then it turns over, and they're like floating,
At this point, gravity's working fine, but they are on the top.
I'm just saying this sounds
technically they are on the top of something.
Yeah. They see an island, and the island's just one big fish, and it eats them in like a Jonah the whale kind of thing.
Anyway, so I don't know. It didn't really make sense to me. I don't think it would have looked good on screen because the tentacles are trying to like get them and attack them, and they're like fighting it off with the weapons that they have, which wouldn't have looked very good on camera.
Right.
But at one point, it says the camera pulls out, and you see it from like the top, and you can see it under the water, and you can see its deadlights. It's like glowing in the center, and it basically suggesting that is actually what Pennywise's
form is.
Yeah. But they beat it off, and they get to the island.
Yeah, they did.
And then it's weird. There's like a trap door that they go into, and then basically the rest of it, what happens in the movie where there's like a confrontation and they beat him up, happens there.
Yeah.
Again, still. And then when he's dead, it's as if everything, the gravity thing goes away.
Yeah.
And all the water that is underneath them is starting to rise up.
Yeah.
And so they're going to like drown. And they don't fuck each other, but she kisses. No, she holds. It says she holds the face.
The faces. I heard that something like that.
Each character, and then they just get spit out of the pipe.
Okay, so he read the book and he read the ending, actually, of the adults, kind of there. Not the.
But there's no turtle thing.
I don't.
There's no. But.
I'm just going to drop a little one in here. Next, if you don't want to know anything about the adult stuff, 30 seconds, just skip the next 30 seconds. When they kill, I'm really going all the way to the end here, by the way. When they kill.
We are there, we're at the end.
But I mean like the adult stuff. I'm going to say the end of the adult stuff real fast because it sounds like he read that and wrote it for the kids. So next 30 seconds or a minute or whatever, just skip it. When the adults kill Pennywise, finally, they're in the sewers. The town's big earthquake hits, basically. And Mike says the town of Derry is dying because Pennywise has been propping up this town for however long for his feasting, right? So with Pennywise dead, it's like the town's going to get destroyed. They're getting stuck in the underneath the rubble. Basically, it does a Ghostbusters 1 when the ground just starts cracking open, and they only get out because the fucking like street above them breaks open, and then a ramp, and they're able to get out of the sewer that way because they were like literally the water's rising. Maybe they're going to die down there. And because the whole town's just getting destroyed, they were able to get out of the ground because there's a hole. That sounds like what he wrote.
Kinda.
Or he read that and was like, they're in there, and the thing, and then this, and then they got out somehow because of this. So.
Yeah. I like the ending in this movie.
Okay, so let's go through it fast. Beverly's down there. They go down there. Henry gets Mike before Mike goes down. Mike has the goat shooting head gun.
But he lost all of his
it falls
ammo
down
for it.
afterwards.
One.
You know, Henry gets thrown down the well, and where they go down the well.
Oh boy, does he get thrown down the well?
Yeah, they go down a rope and then find a hole in the well and go that way. Mm-hmm. The well keeps going. Henry went all the way down. Right. We don't know where that goes. And then Mike comes down. They save Stan from the thing on his face. They go. Bill goes and sees Georgie and runs away, of course, because characters still run away by themselves. They run after Bill. They find Beverly. Bill's still talking to Georgie. Georgie's like, I want to go home. And then Bill's like, I miss you, I love you, and all stuff. And it makes you really wonder, what if Georgie's not dead and Pennywise has been keeping him? But of course not, right?
In the original script, it's similar to that. He does turn into Georgie, but other than just, because in the movie it's just like, I'm Georgie, don't you want me to go home? Like that. Yeah. He does that too, but he also does this thing where he goes, you should know that, yes, you're hurting Pennywise, but we are all now a part of Pennywise, and every time you hurt him, you're hurting all of us.
Like, we're not really dead. We've been, consumed into it or kind of thing. Right. Yeah, that's kind of creepy. But he takes the last charge bolt of the thing and shoots Georgie in the forehead.
Mike's just wait, there's not, but doesn't get a chance to say it.
No. That's after this.
Oh.
He actually goes, you're not Georgie.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And everyone just goes, ooh.
Including me. I was like, do you fucking kills...
Right.
Is this movie that fucking dark? Because that's too much that's mean. Like, I hope that's not what it is.
Right, and of course, it was just Pennywise fucking with him. And there's a good scene with Pennywise coming out of the body and shit. And then, whatever, he doesn't have any more CO2 little thing on there to pull to do another one, but he points at Pennywise's head and he pulls the trigger. Nothing happens, but then, you see what would be like a special effect of like it impacting the head where it would have, because what he did is he shot Pennywise in the head with the power of friendship.
I thought it was just the power of like bravery and belief and confidence and things like that.
It is
also friendship.
But it becomes because they're all together. It sounds corny. It's actually one of the best scenes in the movie. Because I was like, that's what this movie needs more of. Beverly was floating before that, like just fucking floating, and they pulled her down, and then Ben kisses her, and it brings her back after he says the poem or something. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
Or since she says the poem to him, she knows he wrote it.
I thought that was a sweet moment.
Yeah, whatever. Then they beat the shit out of Pennywise.
Yeah, it's great.
That was good. See, that was more like physical manifestation. He's,
I mean, he's still trying to he's turning into different things. At one point, he's got big ass spider arms.
And I think that was a nod to the TV one because he had the arms of the
tentacles and shit. Sometimes that stuff was all really fucking cool. he was such a good bad guy to like finally see.
See, but like to see him actually,
he's the ultimate bully. Like just and not even like because bullies like you look at Henry and you go, he's a bully, but you see the trauma. You see he's still human. So you go, you're not sympathetic, but you're kind of like you turn into a monster because you were raised in this environment. Whereas like, no, you're a monster. You're literally evil.
Yeah.
And so to see. I don't want to call them bullies because it kind of has the same thing. Like you're literally beating down. Like you imagine like a group of kids like kicking the shit out of like another kid, and that's kind of the way it played. But it was so righteous and it was so earned and cathartic.
Seeing Pennywise have that physical manifestation where they could actually affect it was like that's what the movie needed more of. Like when Pennywise was in the original miniseries, he really was a physical presence. So you felt like that. Here he was always kind of like the scary thing. This fight is like, no, he's there. You can beat the shit out of him. You know, his body is inside this mask of a human or something like that. And then he's like, oh, you're not going to get to feed because we beat the shit out of you, so you're going to starve to death. And then here's another weird, it kind of goes with the gun. He's like, oh, I'm just going to fall down this hole and kind of hide from you guys to get away. And Bill has a big piece of rebar, and he goes to swing it, and then Pennywise kind of falls a little bit more. Did you see in the hole when he was hanging, there was 2 glowing dots behind him?
I did feel like I noticed that.
I thought that, but then it didn't do anything about that. So I was like, okay, maybe that's like the real monster's down there. This is a projection. They're defeating the projection, which still hurts the monster, but it's not the fucking monster. Right? But
So
he does the thing where he doesn't actually swing it. He's just like, fuck you, and I'm going to swing it, and that's enough for the head to start split open as if he did hit it. We skipped over the part where, during the fight, Pennywise grabs Bill and goes, I'm going to eat all of you.
Oh, I forgot about that.
And unless you all want to leave me with just Bill, I'll let you all live, and you can go move away, live to be old people, and, you know.
See, okay. Now,
but you know they're not.
I didn't even talk about this stuff, so I spared you. Like, halfway through, I started interfacing with the movie on not just, like, an actual metaphorical level. Because, like, that really put the nail in the coffin for me, because then it was just like, this is all representative of how, like, you know things are fucked up. It's like the town. Like, it's like when you're driving by in your car and there's like somebody might be dead. You know? Like,
yeah, sure.
I'm just saying, like, or an accident, like, you know, or any number of things. And if you stop, God, you know that your day is gonna get real complicated.
You're getting involved in something.
But like, it'd be so easy just to do this.
Yeah.
And the way he describes it, because it's not even that he's wrong or he's lying. He's 100% correct. He's like, if you do this, then you'll all leave this town and you'll go live out your lives happy. You won't even have to fucking deal with ever again. And he's not lying. He's literally negotiating the way that life negotiates with you. But then in this way,
the idea there is that you only would negotiate if you're at a power, you're at a disadvantage.
Yeah, of course.
Because if you had all the power, you wouldn't need to negotiate. You would just take them all.
Almost as if to say, like, the evil of the world, you know, could be dealt with if only people
got together,
did something about it, you know.
Very metaphorical.
It spoke to me.
Yeah. And then Bill's like, yeah, guys, just leave me. I got you into this mess. It's all my fault. And you know, it's okay. Because Georgie's dead. And I think in a way that Bill's like, I can accept my death at this point. I don't want to live anymore. This is too much pain. But you know they're not going to leave him. But Richie does a thing where he tries to pretend like he's going to leave. And then he picks up a fucking baseball bat. And you're like, yay!
Yeah.
You know?
Was he reciting Bill's...
Yes.
Okay, I couldn't tell.
We'll get to that.
And then he just says... Okay.
So you know what that because you watched in the original TV miniseries.
No, he does actually say it in the movie. It's not like it came out of nowhere.
Why he says it?
Bill has said his mantra.
But why?
Because of his speech impediment.
He didn't say it in this movie.
Yes, he did.
Okay.
You missed it.
In the original or the miniseries,
it's more pronounced in the original miniseries.
When I was a kid, I would say this thing to help myself get past the stuttering and whatever, and then he
says it as he's going into the house the first time.
Yeah, it helps him calm down too. Yeah. That's why. I
couldn't really tell because I thought that's what he was saying, but then he says fear, and I couldn't tell. That's the last word he says is fear as he's going down into the well, and I'm like, what the fuck did he say?
Fear.
And I thought that was the last word of something I didn't hear. Because to that point,
I see what you're saying.
So I keep asking somebody, I'm like, what was he whispering? Was he whispering? Because I thought he was just whispering the mantra, in which case, like, doesn't make much fucking sense. He's just whispering the mantra and then says fear and then goes down.
This is one of those interpretations.
You're the wrong person to ask because you're just like, this movie's fucking stupid. I don't want it to. Just another example of why the movie's stupid.
Yeah, he says fear when he drops away, and I feel like it was just one of those things of he was just trying to, I'll come back.
Yeah.
Like fear. Like don't don't think you fucking got away from this. Like, you have the fear, whatever. I don't know. But all that happens. They win.
Yes.
They go to the top. They all cut their hands open and then have a, blood oath kind of thing, which they don't really... That if I cut this hand, my left hand, everyone cuts their left hand and they hold hands. No one's actually touching blood to blood, but whatever. They all leave. Beverly's like, I'm leaving for Portland tomorrow. But Portland's in Maine, by the way. It's not Oregon. There's a Portland in Maine. And then Bill's like, okay, bye.
No, wait.
Yeah, no, wait. I want to kiss you. And then whatever. In the miniseries, the kids, they went in the sewer, and then the silver thing hit Pennywise. He was gone for good. That's the end of the movie, right? There's nothing else
in the new one.
Yeah, there's nothing else worth anything.
No, it ends on a nice note.
They're all like, "See you later, losers," because they're all kind of. And at this point, you're supposed to get is that they kind of don't see each other after this. It kind of is like we kind of go our separate ways, which is weird, but it's what happens. It's where the book is really good about that kind of stuff. For the idea that your childhood,
you're
you don't
adults
remember.
now. It's the idea you get older and things change.
Right, but also the idea like you think you remember your childhood, but you really don't. Like you think childhood, what life in front of you is it's going to be this and this. I'm going to have these friends, and then like life just doesn't work out that way and shit. There's no more movie, right? That's it.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so let's get to the most controversial scene in the book, which is what everyone's talking about.
I'm just going to look at my phone. You go for it.
Because I want to defend that scene. And then there's nothing in this. And I think the kiss with Beverly and Ben is the only thing that comes close to... You can't really just sit here and look at your phone.
I'm not going to... You go ahead.
No, but you have to be participant of this. Okay, in the book...
I have no context for this because I haven't read the book.
After they defeat Pennywise as children... Oh, that's what we skipped. Man, this is going to go long. So how do they defeat Pennywise in the book as children? Well, for one...
You're talking about the book, not the movie.
The book. They do the ritual of Chud, where they basically do like a Native American, let's get high on a little smoke thing. And Bill and Richie get super high and float into outer space.
Probably should mention that this is like well into Stephen King's like totally drugged out writing period.
And this is like Dark Tower type universe, cosmos, darkness behind the veil kind of thing. They fly into space. And there's a giant fucking turtle that invented this universe.
Do you remember the turtle's name?
Maturin.
Merrick?
Martin. Marturin.
Marca, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. He invented the universe long time ago, and the monster, was an interdimensional thing that crash landed on Earth like 1 million years ago or something like that. And you have to bite your tongue. Something about bite. I don't remember exactly, but there's something about biting the tongue or biting your opponent's tongue. It's a war of words. You fight it in the astrostellar plane in the cosmos, and you use your words, and you bite its tongue with using words to bite its tongue to win the fight. And how does he win? He says he thrusts his fist against the post and says he doesn't see the ghost. That phrase is what he uses to defeat it in space, flying, biting the tongue of it.
I like the way this movie ended better.
It's fucking weird. It's the one thing in the book where I'm not like, oh yeah, I love that. It's fine. Yeah. It's just weird. It's not the thing that, is like, oh, that's great. I like this. Yeah, that's what it is. So at that point, Pennywise is defeated, but not dead. He's just like damaged because Bill couldn't do enough damage with the thing, and he goes into the thing. So they have to get out of the sewer, but they can't get the way out because they've lost the power. So this is what, again, the book being about friendship and power and the group and everything. This is, with it being gone, with the bad thing gone, the good thing has no right to be anymore, right? If the light is turned off, well, no. Like, if there's no shadows, the light, whatever the case may be. With it being gone, there's nothing keeping these kids together as friends, and they're all freaking out at this point. They have anxiety, and they don't want to get out. They're lost. And so all the thing they've been building up, all this good group dynamic is fading slowly, and they're like, we're going to die down here because we can't get out. So this leads to the child sex scene that everyone talks about. Beverly decides to have sex with each one of the kids, and everyone goes, ew, gross. He doesn't have an orgy. She does it one at a time. Okay, I'm going to defend this scene. Stephen King didn't need to write this. It didn't need to be a thing, but I understand. Get the fuck back in the picture. I understand what he was going for. It's and he says it a little bit differently, the idea of childhood and adulthood kind of mixing. I think there's nothing more intimate and close than sex with someone, right? So by doing that with all of them, it brings them close enough together, just long enough for them to kind of band back up again, to have the confidence and strength, whatever, to get out of there. It's like this thing, I don't know. It's weird. But I get it.
I haven't read the book, but I've read.
But you said the script where she touches all their faces. Mm-hmm. It's this.
But you could have. The point being, you could have done something else and gotten the same thing across.
But he wanted to write a scene where Beverly has sex with them all.
That's true that he wanted. That's true that he wanted to write that.
The boys are reluctant. They don't want to do it.
No, she fucking rapes Eddie.
Basically, like they're very uncomfortable. And then she has sex with Ben, and Ben's got a big dick, and she comes with it. And it doesn't feel good for her either. She's doing it as a mission. Like, this is the only way we're going to survive, guys. We have to do this. So it's not a weird. I mean, it's weird.
Are you upset that this isn't in the movie?
Oh no, I don't ever want this to be in the fucking movie. People always come, "Is it going to put the sex scene in the movie?" No, don't fucking do it. But in the book, it has its place. It makes sense. He chose to do it. It's his creative choice. But it's actually written in a really good way. It's really well written, and it's one of those things where like I felt for the characters. It's one of those things where, like, I didn't cry because of it, but like it worked really well to go like I understand.
I just don't think you're gonna get anybody to like, oh yeah, like if they haven't read it.
Right. It's again, they're literally wandering around in pitch black darkness, and
I'm not judging either way. I'm just
scared.
I'm just simply saying I haven't read the book. I've read a couple of think pieces that actually defend it, like you are trying to do, and they're not all dudes. There's been some women that like grew up the book and love the book, and it was actually, not in like an ardent defense, in a kind of like, yeah, it was kind of a weird fucking decision to do this, but I understand why, and here's why I think he did it. Could he have done it another way?
Yeah.
Yeah. But he did it this way.
But it's so powerful when you're reading it. You're like, this is really crazy.
It's mostly just the defense of Stephen King not being just like a pervy asshole.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's actually one of the better written parts of the book that really gets you into the psyche of the characters, what they're doing, why they're doing it, what they need to survive. Which, see, this is why I want to talk about the very, 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 very end, because it all ties into that. And it was a temporary thing. It was just long enough to get them to safety, to get them out. And then what happens in the book, same thing here. They all go their separate ways. You know, she had to do this to survive, to get it out. And it was kind of like the blood. They do the blood oath in the book, I think. But it was kind of like the blood oath. It was a physically, you know, have sex with them all. They've all shared this thing and whatever.
I think they navigated a respectable way through that. Like, that's all stuff really fucking weird. And like I would look at all that and be like, that plays in a book because you're imagining things.
That's
and,
the thing. It works really good.
It's more like thoughts. But when you're dealing with a visual medium, you gotta start like actually being like, maybe the kids just beat them up. Yeah. Maybe the kids just kick the shit out of them. Which I think works.
Well, they just after they win, they're in they got out. They're fine.
Yeah, well, I mean, went down well.
Yeah,
you know, they weren't even.
Can I talk about the very, very end of the book?
No, don't. Come on. I bet you a lot of people that watch this, like literally, they haven't even seen this other movie.
But it ties into that scene right now, and it ties into the end of this book. The same thing happens at the end of the kid's story that happens at the end of the adult story. With like going their separate, like you could skip it. I want to talk about it.
Yeah, because then you don't know who dies and who lives and stuff.
I don't want to say anything of who dies and lives. I want to just like literally talk about the last scene of the book.
It's your world. It's your show. I don't know why you're asking me for permission. Okay. Half of it's yours.
So that whole idea of them losing track of each other. This is why the whole idea of friendship is really strong. Again, skip the next 30 seconds if you don't want to hear the very end of the story. The very end, when everything's done, Pennywise is dead for sure. The idea that like Mike's been keeping his diary. As a librarian, he writes what happened, and every day he goes back, and the letters are fading. And as the more days go by, like he'll write one day, and the next day it literally is almost gone. And like you can kind of see the indentations. He's like, there's still a mysterious force out there that's going, you did your part, you defeated the enemy, that's it. You don't get to have friends anymore. You don't get to love these people. You don't get to spend time with them. You guys have to all go your separate ways away. No matter how sad that makes you, you are going to forget everything that happened. It's fucking depressing, but it's so powerful. It's like Men in Black, like, you know, I'm going to fucking take your memory away, but you know you're going to lose it. It's fucking good. It's a really good read. At least the last, like, chapter, it's super well written, depressing, but also, like, just this, like, swell of your heart of, like, everything they went through and all that shit. And it says it in the TV. You remember in the TV miniseries, he's like, we joked that we'd forget each other's names. Like, that's what they were hinting at, is that it literally is like, there's nothing to keep you here anymore. You need to go back to your life outside of Derry. and Mike's just going to stay here and be, this guy. So I love the end of that. That's why it's my favorite book.
In the original script, the very last shot, they do a cheap scare thing where, actually, Mike. So there's some other stuff too. Like Beverly's mom is actually in the original script. So I don't know if that's in the book.
I don't think so.
I think they just cut it for time, or like cut it out of the script because of time.
Yeah.
Because it was interesting and actually was some stuff that was neat but didn't need to be there. Bill's parents are in the movie more. There's actually because again it was a different thing where it became more his character thing was just like my family's broken.
Yeah.
And we're just not going to go on this summer vacation now because George, I like to go on the summer vacation too. It's not,
Yeah.
Which kind of, I get it. It kind of made him seem like fucking your brother died. Anyway, so the end of the movie becomes more of a thing
kind of like how Henry says it to Bill at one point. He's like, "You got to pass this year because your brother."
Kind of.
That was kind of a nice, even though Ben Henry's a piece of shit. It was kind of a
yeah.
I can recognize the trauma,
So the end is actually it's not like in this movie where it's Beverly going away. It's Bill going away with his parents. They're moving out. They're gonna have a new life and move somewhere else. Anyway, so the last kind of shot is their car all packed up driving off. And then, of course, a red balloon floats into the sky because you're already up in the sky at this point all over Derry, and the balloon floats up into the thing and it pops. And that's glad they didn't do that.
That's this movie.
Yeah. We don't need to review it again. We already said our opinions. I'm going to say just from the script point of view, reading the script's really interesting. I guess I could put a link. It's not like it's illegal or anything. Whatever, right? It's a Reddit. It's a download link I found on Reddit. It's pretty fascinating to see. A lot of people were really worried that this movie. A lot of people were really worried that this movie was going to be just fucked because the Cary Fukunaga script was getting a lot of hot buzz. People that were really into it were really excited about it, saying it's one of the best scripts they'd ever read and all this kind of stuff. And then you hear about creative differences, they can't handle Fukunaga's vision,
Such badass.
Right. And then they heard they're literally brought in a writer from the Annabelle series.
No wonder.
But before you say that, he only did about 10%. The only things he did were to trim, try to save budget. That's the only things he did. He would basically cut things out. He didn't add anything. No, actually, the bigger changes after Fukunaga are the actual filmmaker, and from what I've read, he actually didn't like how far away Fukunaga was taking it from the book, and he wanted to bring it back. Fukunaga had changed names. It wasn't Henry, it was Travis, for seemingly no reason at all.
That phrase you just said, no reason at all, I feel like a lot of things that are wrong with, or that I get mad about, I'm like, there's no reason to do that. You could have done this instead. Why did you do that?
I feel I've had good reasons for the changes.
But I mean, in movies in general, a lot of times I do that. The Alien Covenant thing. It's why did Orm go down the stairs? Just put something in there to make it where people don't get angry and go, why is he such a dumbass,
Anyway.
Let's answer some questions.
We have some questions. And the good news is that we've talked so fucking much that some of these questions we've already answered. So
we talk a lot.
Most of them are Instagram.
I'm actually more passionate about this than I was with Alien or anything, which is weird.
Yeah, we have a lot to talk about.
Hey, I'm going to throw in a weird Alien thing real fast. I guess I never really watched the director's cut.
Of which one?
Alien.
I don't really like it.
It was on TV the other day.
Yeah.
And Dallas was... Yeah. I never seen that before.
That's where Cameron got it.
I was just like, what is this?
Yeah, Cameron didn't just invent that. He invented the Queen, but
It's just weird that I thought I had seen whatever I'd watched, right? And I was just going, what am I watching? What is this on TV? I'm on HBO going, what? I had to rewind. I'm like, what the fuck? And then how does she know it's him? Because the other guy, not after Dallas, the other one, she's I don't know.
All right, here we go.
Alien aside real fast. I forgot about that.
You want to take turns?
Sure.
You want to go from the bottom up or the top and the bottom?
Let's go from the bottom. Let's go from the top down because that's
chronological. All right, I'll start.
Yeah.
Rick Steele, what do you think of the design of Pennywise in this version versus the miniseries? I felt the design in the new movie was trying too hard to be scary, but loved the movie otherwim Kyle obviously
you're half right, Rick Steele.
Yeah.
He looks terrible here. Yeah, we went over that, but
I think that
I love Tim Curry.
Of course.
It works so well. And again, you didn't have to cast Tim Curry again, which you should have, but you didn't have to. But just try to keep some of the same.
I will say that when they showed pictures of him, I went, no.
Right.
So I agree with his look, but we've already talked about the performance. I think the performance makes the character, and I think it makes it work.
I should have said this before the questions. I'll say with all this, said, I am extremely excited to see the second half of this.
A lot more excited to see the next Dark Tower movie?
I do want to see where the adult story goes. You know what I mean? Even if it's still shitty scares, whatever.
Your dream fan casting right now. Everybody. Right now.
Brad Pitt for everybody.
How many girls can you think of that have red hair that are actresses?
Oh, also, I forgot to make the jokes about like who everyone was. Like, they got Kristen Wiig Jr. Beverly is basically looks like Kristen Wiig.
Oh.
Stan is Sir Loras from Game of Thrones. Like, everyone had like a little,
Yeah.
I don't know, I forgot the jokes. Yeah, no, I really want to see the next one. Even though I'm unhappy with this, whatever, I'm still invested in it in a weird way. I feel like I'll watch it again on Blu-ray. I'll probably watch all special features, all comment. Like, I want to hear every little drop you can give me with it. I'm still down to get into it, but I don't think I'm ever going to want to revisit this movie in my life after like the first Blu-ray release. But I will keep watching that miniseries every year. Like I have a weird tradition. The first rain of every year, like the first real good storm, it's like dark and cold and rainy. I fucking watch it. And I watch Goonies. Like, those two things are like my first like storm of the year, which we don't get much storm here. But when it's like nice and cold and bundle up, I sit down and I'm like, I want to watch a nice, quiet, scary movie. Because the TV miniseries is a much more character drama. It's like a soap opera in a way. And so you can kind of just bundle up and there's no loud scares and shit. It's just melodrama.
Yeah.
And a little bit of scares in between. I want to move to like the Pacific Northwest where it rains all the time and just go out looking for fucking monsters in the woods.
Yeah, that's what you want to do.
Next one comes in from Matt McCauley. How do you think the studio will handle part 2? Spoilers, the adult section of the TV movie was the weakest half, especially when it came to them battling a low budget spider at the end. So with this new movie not showing the ritual of Chud, which we talked about in The Turtle, how on earth is WB and New Line going to pull this off without going off the rails? Fuck, I mean, is everyone signed on as far as the creative team from this one? Are they for sure doing
Only the
one?
writer.
Because, you know, I mean, first of all...
Well, even him, I think they're just talking to him, so...
I think
definitely the kid's got to be locked up because they're going to do flashbacks. There's no way they won't.
I guess, I don't know. They
will.
They have no adults cast so far.
No,
I know that for sure.
So
I wouldn't be surprised if they had no adults in this one. They'll have no kids in the next one.
They played this like, you know, this feels like its own thing.
Yeah.
Like, not like it's cliffhanger, but not really. Like, it's kind of its own thing.
Yeah.
And
I think they did that because
of course.
it didn't do... It's a one-and-done story.
You got it.
I thought opening weekend it would hit like 20 million. I was like 6 times under I was really surprised. I didn't know. I never heard any stories like, tracking says they're going to hit, you know, what studio estimates were. I don't know.
I mean, I would argue it's because it's good. But in addition to that, there's things you look at, like Stranger Things is so popular.
Yeah.
And people keep saying it. It's like Stranger Things, and I'm like, you know, Stranger Things is like...
I've heard like people, I don't remember someone on Instagram, like took a picture with one of the cast members and tagged Stranger Things, even though the kid's not in Stranger Things.
It's like, Stranger Things is, I like Stranger Things. It's a fun show. You'll like it. It's a fun show. It's
on my list.
Stranger Things does not exist without Stephen King.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist without it. Like,
okay.
So, anyway, but that was really,
it's come
there's a
full
whole
circle.
generation of like people that have been kind of already sort of exposed to this.
Cause a circle.
Yeah. And also, fucking random ass people dressing up as clowns all over the news in the last few years. All this stuff, I think, kind of...
I'm just surprised this many people went out to go see it, but I'm glad. I'm glad it made money.
And I think people remember this. I think they remember this.
I think a lot of people, yeah. What do I think? So now that it's made wow, $35 million budget or something like that, and it's already 150 past that because worldwide. I mean, obviously you're getting a part 2 for sure. I won't be surprised if there's a part 2 and 3.
Yeah.
They either split it up or they fucking make their own after, you know. But there's one glaring problem. They use the 27 years reference here, whereas the TV miniseries did the 30 years. Okay. The new movie takes place 1988, 1989. You should say 88.
It'll be a science fiction movie.
Let's say it's 80. Let's just say it's 89 because that's when it takes place. You do your 30 years. Because we're at the end of 2017. They haven't written the movie. The movie won't come out until 2019, for sure. They'll say really rush it. Why the fuck did they not just do 30 years? Because the movie would come out in 2019, taking place in 2019. Now they're going to have a movie in 2019 that takes place in 2016? Or maybe the monster needs a couple extra years to sleep because he got damaged last time. Because wouldn't you just make the movie come out it's the same year that it exists in?
Oh.
What benefit do you have of making it 3 years ago?
Sticking to the continuity, man.
It's stupid. They should have just done the 30 years thing for the new one, unless they find a way to loophole that in, and just made it the same year the movie is releasing.
I guess you can't really talk about this without spoiling things again.
How do I think the studio will handle part 2? I think they're going to literally just do what they just did. It's going to be 2 hours and 15 minutes. They're going to cast adults. They're going to do the same. They're going to come back into town. They're going to have the thing I forgot, and they're going to do the same fights. Stan's going to, well.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil everything, but, stuff's going to happen.
Okay.
I think that they're going to follow this formula. I don't know that you can do the jump scares as much because there's kids versus adults.
I wonder if I was talking to somebody about this today, and people are like, "Oh, this movie really scary." I'm like, no.
I think for the average person,
but I think that for the average person is, but like for me, it's not. But I don't think it's like. I still understand why it's mainstream. I don't think it's as bad as like The Mist. I think The Mist was like a lot more awful. With
like
some of the
like
things,
depressing and like.
Well, yeah, that too.
Yeah.
But I mean, like it was definitely a darker film overall.
Yeah.
See,
that's why the people would probably like this more than The Mist, because this is surface level scary. The Mist was a lot of.
I wonder now that since they're adults, and what's scary and like what is like a coming of age Goonies thing at first, now maybe needs to be ratcheted up to a.
But that's what I'm saying. So one of the scenes in the movie when they're adults, one of my favorite scenes is the scene when Ben goes in the hotel room to get her shawl, to get Beverly's shawl, and she shows up.
Yeah.
And they start making out, and then he looks in the mirror,
right.
and he's got his arms around the fucking clown outfit, and he pulls back. He's like, "Kiss me, fat boy."
Yeah.
He's got the makeup on him, and then later when he's talking to Beverly, and she says something, he goes, "Is that you?"
Right. He's like questioning their sanity and stuff.
Yes.
So I think they got to really get into, because when you're a kid, you're more.
You're scared of the monster.
Yeah.
Now they're scared of their sanity.
But now you've already dealt with your own fucked up shit as an adult. Like you have so much more baggage now than you did before, and so you might be harder to scare since you're not a child, but you have so many different
weaknesses,
new things to exploit.
I think that's the right way to go with part 2. If they do something that's not just a fight. Pennywise comes back.
Should be like it's just total mind fuck.
What's weird is
way more so than
if
this
they wait
one.
a couple years, you can cast the same actor for Pennywise, and then maybe not everyone else is just like no.
This one shouldn't just be scary. It should be like hurt feelings. Like that's not the right word, but like it should be stuff that's just like, oh, that ain't right. Like
because Pennywise doesn't generally kill or like eat adults.
No,
he uses them to do his bidding a bit, and he like so the town's kind of like not under his control, but adults yes, but he's mainly going for kids. So here it's an adversary. Mm-hmm. It's not that he wants to, you'll die if you try. Get out while you can. I will murder you. Pennywise doesn't take. He's not like, yay, I'm gonna torture these guys like I torture kids. It's get the fuck away from me.
Yeah.
I don't like you. I will kill you.
Right.
So there's a difference in how Pennywise treats the adults. We'll see if that's in the movie. I think that Pennywise will be more like less hiding behind the thing, going like, "You see me? I'm gonna fucking kill you."
I think that without spoiling, however they deal with Stan, I think will set the tone for
yes, absolutely.
Which I think what happens will happen, but like how that is dealt with, how crushing will that be? That kind of Anyway, all right. Pendulous Phallus, big penis. Oh,
you skipped Doc O'Malley.
I did. I'm sorry, Doc O'Malley. Doc O'Malley, thank you for answering my Alien Covenant question. You're welcome. But with the success of it and the flop of Dark Tower, what Stephen King story will be next adapted / remade? You guys are awesome. Love the channel. Thank you. You're awesome.
So I couldn't remember the name, but we talked about this ahead of time. There's always a Stephen King adaptation in the works. Everything. We just had Under the Dome. Before they're talking about a Christine remake. Or they already remade Cary.
Cary got remade, yeah.
Yeah, there's always a Stephen King's work is so big that there's always either a new adaptation, a remake coming, and right now there's already
Gerald's Game is coming out on Netflix,
and there's already a trailer and everything. It's already been made, so
looks
that's
good.
It.
I think he means more like what kind of gets shook loose. I think that's The Stand.
I think a Stand remake is coming. Absolutely,
that's the big thirsty studio going yum yum yum.
This is a remake of something that already exists, so why not do Stand?
I think they were already trying, because you've been hearing a lot about it. But at one point, Ben Affleck was supposed to do it. They've already talked about splitting it up into multiple movies. Like I've heard as much as 4 movies, which is kind of crazy.
I wouldn't be surprised.
They want to make money. So I think that even though people
maybe Dark Tower Part 2, they'll go, wait a minute, we can. Well, see, but I think that's why like this one made money and Dark Tower didn't. I think execs are going to look at it and go, keep doing the Conjuring bullshit. That's been really popular.
All the other Joker movies get greenlit. Like every
you're
Joker
right.
movie in the world. What other Joker things have we got going? People really love clowns.
Leonardo DiCaprio is going to play the Joker.
Yeah.
It's fucking no. So
I think it's The Stand. I think that's the next big Stephen King thing.
I mean, I already hear they're going to remake Pet Sematary, I think.
Yeah, I bet The Stand gets going
as a big
thing like this was. Yeah.
They just did 11/22/63.
Right.
That was a Hulu thing. That was not that long ago. That was last year with James Franco. So yeah, there's always something in the works. And we kind of joked ahead of time. It was like, Dark Tower flops, it does good. The next one will flop. Like, you just keep taking Stephen King's work and just throwing it at the wall. The studios don't give a shit. One of them will hit. So I don't think now that it made a lot of money, way more than I thought, I don't think it's going to change the way they've always approached his work. Some do good, some do bad. I think it'll help get The Stand made. But again, they're going to go, well, Dark Tower, we spent all this money, and it's the big epic, and it fucking blew chunks, right?
I didn't spend that much money.
So, right, that's part of the problem. But so, they're going to go, well, just because it did good doesn't mean The Stand's going to do good. So I don't know. I don't know how this is going to shake out.
Yeah.
I think that it would help get The Stand remade, but at the same time...
I think The Stand is also Warner Brothers.
I'm just saying, I think that Dark Tower showed, and, his adaptations are all over the place. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're terrible.
Yeah.
Under the Dome was popular, but that show's bad.
Yeah.
I watched all three seasons or whatever it was, and I'm like, I would never recommend this to anybody, but I watched it because I read the book. I could see Doohickey getting made. It's not popular at all, but it could be a $3 or $4, $5 million movie that does this cheap scare bullshit and makes 20 or 30 easily.
I bet we also see on that tip of something that people remember. But then
and Cell just got made last year too, the John Cusack, and I liked that one a lot. I thought it was really good.
I'd like to see the Running Man, like an actual real Running Man.
Just a guy running.
Have you not read Running Man?
No.
It's good. It's like an actual serious dystopic science fiction story
right.
and people are like, you don't like Arnold Schwarzenegger movie? I'm like, I don't think anybody. I think you can only enjoy it ironically. Like it's a fun dumb movie. I'd buy the Smash TV style, but I think they can do a serious thing. Do you ever read The Long Walk?
No, I don't. No, I didn't read as much.
All right, The Long Walk would be another one that I would like to see. Okay,
I could see things like, a thinner remake. Things I think the studio's going to look at things and go, what can we make for $10 or $15 million?
Right.
And do the scares and stuff, and you're going to see things like thinner and not Cell, but
Graveyard Shift.
Fucking new Creep Show would be great.
They're not going to do that.
I know.
Anthology movies are dead.
No, but I mean, I would love to see new Creep Show. I know they're not going to happen. That'd be fucking awesome. You pick up Skeleton Crew, you read a couple books in there and go, take that one short story, let's make a movie out of it, spend $15 million on it, and if we hit $50 million, hey, big profit, So I don't think this is going to change and turn around and go, Stephen King's back, baby, Okay. Pendulous Phallus. What were your thoughts on Bauer's development?
Kind of talked about it a little bit.
Yeah, at length. I'll just say, that wasn't a bad actor. I think his friends were too old. But he was he seemed like he would probably be in that age group or something like that. It's weird how his friends just do what he says.
Scared of him.
Yeah, Henry, okay. We beat the shit out of you, Henry. And then his dad, he shoots the gun at the ground and goes see your friends. Henry's a fucking pussy when it really comes down to it.
What I also noticed with the difference between him and them is that, and why do they do what he says? They actually have a moment where they're kind of almost like the losers because they go, Henry, are you okay? Are you gonna be all right? They actually show a moment of and he would never do that the other way around. Anyway,
I like the book Henry the most because it gives you the most depth into his weird, fucked up life, and then. I like the kid in the TV miniseries, the total greaser. He's scrawny and whatever. The TV miniseries, they go down in the sewer and his friend's boat get killed and he sees it. I think he even sees the deadlights, turns his hair white, and he survives and they blame all the murders on him.
Right.
So I like that development because it's oh, Henry got his. He tried to do all this shit and then the loser club, well, actually they didn't really do much, but it did it.
In the original script, there is a random guy as a veteran with one arm. Who's just in the background in the beginning of the movie, when Ben's in the library and stuff. And later on, they see on the news that he's been apprehended and is being charged with the murders.
Like a Rambo
Weird.
character who's just like going through town and they just sort of put it on him or something like that.
Again, back to that kind of like everybody just kind of gets nudged to like move things along.
Yeah, I liked Henry being blamed for all the murders at some point and going crazy. That would have been a much. I mean, it could still happen. Like you said, I don't see how, but that development would a little bit more like payoff, I guess.
Bryce Hendricks 73. Did you miss the sex scene or the turtle? We talked about the sex scene. I don't miss it. Turtle's in the movie, yo.
Turtles are in the movie. Like you asked, like, is a turtle gonna make an appearance next time and shit? You know,
they don't need to do that. I like the subtle. I like the subtle nod to it, which I think is more than a little homage. I know from being Dark Tower that like, yeah, man, this is their quartet. Like, I got that Dark Tower juice going from the turtles. So.
And the joke, like turtles all the way down, is that old. I think is it Bertrand Russell?
I think so.
He's giving a speech, and the lady goes like, "Oh, the world's on the back of the turtle shell," and he's like, well, "What's underneath the turtle?" She's like, "It's another turtle. Yeah. It's turtles all the way down." You know, so I think he took that and was like, "You know what? Fine, fuck, a turtle made the universe." You know. Which one is your personal favorite of the three? I'm assuming you mean book, TV series, and the new one. A book.
Yeah. Having not read the book.
But if I had to pick between the two movies, I got to take the TV miniseries. Yeah. I'm never gonna. Well, that's not true. I probably won't read the book again. I might, but I will watch that TV miniseries.
I'm 100% definitely reading it before the next movie. Before the next movie comes out. I hope I don't die before the next movie comes out.
I hope. Well, I hope you don't die.
Between the two movies, the new one. For me, it's I've only seen it the one time, but right now it's like top 3 Stephen King movies for me. So
I think it's his most well-made adaptation in terms of budget and the way it looks. I mean, The Green Mile is obviously like a fine, but no one thinks about. Oh yeah, Shawshank. People don't think of those as Stephen King.
Even the ones that are more horror, I like The Mist the most. It's still my favorite. Cary's great.
I like and read The Mist. The Mist, the book's totally different. Not totally different, but it's quite different.
Right.
Actually, there's a pretty big difference in the book than there is in the movie. Yeah. AKA the ending.
Yeah.
But that's a good change for a movie. You're gonna really impactful there. But I don't forget what I was talking about. I don't know. Anyways, next. Tired, it's late. We went way too long.
Skinner 44.
Who's that?
Favorite Stephen King books, favorite film adaptation. I haven't read like every single Stephen King book ever made, but it's really like the Dark Tower books.
I've only read a couple, to be honest. I mean, I bought a bunch of them thinking I was going to read them all at the last job, and then I got a new job, and I was like, good, I don't need to read anymore.
I read a lot of short stories. I read most of his Richard Bachman stuff because that was like being published right at the right age for me. So I read Regulators, Desperation, The Long Walk, Running Man.
I don't
think I read Thinner. I never read The Shining. I never read it.
I've never read The Shining?
I know.
Really?
Yeah, I got to catch up.
The Shining's, I mean...
Yeah.
It's good, but so is, I mean...
also, Shining, one of the best adaptations. Except it's a shitty adaptation. I know that.
It doesn't follow a lot, but yeah, I mean, Stanley Kubrick doing that movie is so good.
And I don't know, I've read some other stuff. Dark Tower is my favorite books. My favorite adaptation, I guess, even though I haven't read The Mist, because The Mist is my favorite Stephen King movie, so I guess that one.
It's weird. It's like not one of those. I mean, obviously it should be it for me because I like, or the TV miniseries.
And in black and white, by the way. Won't ever watch it in color.
I love The Mist in black and white. You said The Shining, but like The Shining is just so good, but it's not like a personal thing.
Like The Mist is actually a movie I want to sit down and watch.
I will say, I didn't read it. So it might be one of those things where I just really enjoyed watching was 11/22/63. The James Franco thing on Hulu. I watched it with my wife. It's like 8 episodes. I loved it. And it was really fucking good. It doesn't stand up to like The Shining or a movie, but it's good. And the adaptation's totally different than the book.
There's also a ton of fucking Stephen King movies that I haven't, in addition to books, like I haven't seen. I've never seen Christine. I've never seen Pet Sematary. I've never seen Salem's Lot. I've never seen I've read Salem's Lot. I've also read Cary. So I've read a few. There's a ton of even all the bad ones I want to watch.
So the personal for you is The Mist. The best is The Shining, and the personal
Probably
for
The
me
Shining is the best.
Between it and the JFK assassination. Wait, who wrote JFK?
The movie?
Yeah. Who wrote wasn't it a book first?
Maybe. Yeah, there was a guy who wrote It's kind of like
it's just because
Zodiac.
11/22/63 is about James Franco trying to go back in time and prevent the JFK assassination. But the thing is the time machine he goes through lets him out like 3 years before the assassination. And every time he goes through, it puts him back 3 years before, so he has to plan and stay there for fucking years. But I think in the book, he goes back like 6 years before or something like that. So it's a pretty interesting idea.
Last question.
How'd you feel about Skarsgård's portrayal of Pennywise? We've said that. I thought he really made it his own. Also, if Pennywise visited Ryan and Kyle, what would he be? Oh, I didn't even read that one. Yeah, I didn't like it because, well, one, I'd rather run into Tim Curry as Pennywise because I could be like, maybe I can talk with this guy a little bit.
Yeah.
What would he be? I don't want to tell you my fears are.
For me, I think it's...
What would it be for you? Would it be a physical thing or a metaphorical thing, like an emotional thing?
Ooh, I don't want to talk about emotional things on camera. Maybe they're kind of linked. I mean,
I don't think there is an emotional thing you could get me with, other than like murdering my family. But I don't like, oh, you're all alone. I'd be like, I'm alone? Fucking great. Like, most emotion is like keeping you away from human beings. I'm like, is that cool with me?
Right. I got a lot of like weird guilt stuff, so like I would be really easy prey for like
lock you in confession.
All these fucking bad things that you did that you
like
should feel bad about.
Oh, you're not gonna tell everybody, obviously, but like I don't know that you've done anything.
Well,
bad.
that's the point. Is that it doesn't necessarily mean that I did anything bad, but I feel bad about it anyway. As far as like a physical kind of thing, like what I've always said, kind of jokingly, but I guess it's probably true. Like just the idea of like just put me in like the middle of the ocean in like the middle of the night, and just like.
But this isn't like.
But that's not the kind of thing that would happen in an It movie.
Right. This isn't like here's a fantasy of like here's your worst fears. Put me in a fucking cage underwater with Jaws swimming around in the dark, and I've got like 2 minutes of oxygen left. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
What would he manifest as? Like where would it happen and what would it be? I think for me it would just be like it'd be the Louis situation of opening the door and it's just pitch black and I can't see anything and there's something touching me. Like just full on like. We live in a place where cities, and we live in the city, but we live near major cities and small cities. We have so much light bleed and moonlight that you go outside at night and you can still see even in the dark times. You go somewhere where there's the mountains and you go out in the dark and you're like, no, it's black, dark. I can't see anything. We're not used to that. But actually being somewhere where it's pitch black in water, that kind of thing, like, yeah, that would be scary. So you would manifest, I guess he couldn't manifest darkness, but like when Bill goes down to the basement and there's water, and when someone else, he kind of leads you, like Ben goes down to the fucking basement of the library, right? But the light's going out. Like the light's going out would be the one that makes me just like claustrophobia, Put me in a fucking box, bury me alive. That's the one.
If it's like childhood things that like scared the shit out of me when I was a kid, kind of the same way that the original book and movie did, where it's like monster movies and stuff that fuck you up. Things when I was a kid were like X-Files. There were certain episodes of X-Files that just like. So I still like. I was thinking about it. I'm like, yeah,
Fire in the Sky.
I don't like sharks and Jaws. I recently watched Close Encounters, right, for the 40th anniversary. Have you seen Close Encounters?
I don't, because I always confuse it with Fire in the Sky.
Okay, so it's funny you say that because Close Encounters, the way it ends is, it's like wondrous and. It comes down to the do, and aliens come out and they go, come with us. And Richard Dreyfuss goes, okay, I'll come with you, and goes out in his spaceship, and it's like, wow, like that. And I'm just like, fuck that. Aliens are not to be trusted.
How to cook human.
They kidnap you and fucking torture you and shit, and they're scary. And that comes from X-Files and stuff like Fire in the Sky, which I saw when I was way too young.
Because Fire in the Sky is when she's like in the kitchen and everything's just fucking red, and all the cabinets are opening and closing, right?
That might be Close Encounters.
Like they're in the house and the whole outside, everything's just burning red.
Yeah. Fire in the Sky is like the four like redneck guys and they're drunk out in the woods, and this guy's like, huh, and the light goes bing, and then eventually he just gets dropped somewhere, and the whole movie is him like remembering being abducted. If I watched that movie today, I'd probably think that it's like.
Well, you just watched Close Encounters. Is there a part where they're in the house and everything outside is glowing red?
They take her kid and they pull him out through the doggy door.
Yes, okay, then I've seen that.
Yeah, which again is terrifying. And then I'm watching this, I'm like, and then later they give the kid back, and I'm just like, why is everybody acting? They took her child, and it was terrifying. The poor mother, just everything you just said.
You know what's so funny? That's one thing. Like that's scary, but it's just so like beyond comprehension that it's just like okay, it's just something's trying to like eat me and whatever. Like that's not my fear. But it's funny because my wife she hates alien abduction shit.
Because it's all out now that all that stuff is sleep paralysis, right? Have you heard anything about this?
Yeah,
So basically,
Jeff Gerstmann was talking about that.
I've never had that, but like
I've had it.
There's a documentary. I keep forgetting to watch it. There's a documentary on Netflix. It's about sleep paralysis. It's supposed to be terrifying.
Thank you for the question, by the way. Now you're just opening up our darkest fears.
It's supposed to be scary as shit because it's telegraphing you like this is what it's like, and ghosts and aliens, all this kind of stuff comes from it. It's a feeling, and your brain will like make things up that aren't there, and then also you can't move, and so.
Yeah. This is like you waking up in the middle of the night screaming.
I have night terror. Not anymore. I haven't when I went alone, but I used to have night terrors, which where you wake up, you're half cognizant.
Right. I know what you mean.
Anyway, that's it. That's what it is. Like aliens, alien abduction
The
stuff.
sleep paralysis thing is the idea that like sometimes like you're dreaming and you're trying to wake yourself up. You're trying to physically force your body to get moving, because like you kind of know and you can't do it. Like I've had it.
I tell you, like the second or third time that I did it to my now fiance,
Yeah.
I said,
I remember the story.
I love you, but right now you're like a monster. And I just need to turn around. I'm going to look at the wall because it's not because I don't love you. I love you, but sorry. Like, so you're like you're kind of like, it's weird.
Yeah.
But I haven't had one in a really long time.
I like once a month. You just wake up. It's like you have a really bad dream. Like kind of like if you ever dream where you're underwater and you're still breathing.
Yeah.
And you kind of realize like you're in bed, you're asleep in your bed, but you can't fucking get yourself to open your eyes and move. And then sometimes you do wake up and you're just like this. You're like, okay, calm. I can't move any part of my body because I'm fucking clenching. And then you just kind of like slowly ease down. And the feeling I can describe it to somebody else is, think about when you sleep on your arm and you wake up and you're like, it weighs 10,000. It hurts so bad. It's just dead asleep. Imagine if your whole body was asleep.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. And so you lay there for a while and eventually it starts to come back. But yeah.
Right. That was a good question.
I would say if Pennywise could do some kind of Blair Witch shit to me.
Oh, I don't like Blair Witch stuff.
Where you walk in a room.
I forgot about that stuff.
And someone's sustaining in the fucking corner.
Yeah, like shit like that. Really weird, surreal, just...
No, like people just going like, why are you over there? You know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but that's pretty surreal because there's no reason for it.
Right.
David Lynch shit. I don't know.
Fucking bunch of guys dressed in blackface rubbing their hands all over me. Like that. What?
Yeah, I don't know. There's some creepy stuff in that stuff. Yeah.
Other than a fucking spider. Other than a bunch of spiders.
I don't like that either. I'll tell you that really good if you like found footage. Otherwise, you probably won't like it. Found footage movie by Bobcat Goldthwait called Willow Creek.
I still want to see it.
That's good. I don't like that. I don't know. This sounds like when you put me in the dark, it makes sounds that I don't like. You know.
So what part of Blair Witch was the part that like what? I always had that like you kind of had a. I said Blair Witch and you kind of like, oh yeah.
Just the atmosphere is just
like when they're in the tent and the fucking hands.
Everything from the very beginning, like hearing the.
You see what I mean? All that's that paranormal, supernatural shit where it's not like, hey, there's if Pennywise shows up and he's like, I'm gonna eat you. I'm like, okay, well, you're probably strong, but I can fight back. You rip my arm off. That's cool. But if you're like walking through the house and it's just like I feel something brush by me, just fucking kill me. Yeah. Please don't do that
Basically,
to me.
like, just be a ghost. That's all. Just like if you just be a ghost, don't be Pennywise. Just like you're like Pennywise, you're laying on a little thick, aren't you? You know?
No, I'm saying like, don't be a ghost.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, if he's just his normal Pennywise self, you're gonna be like, oh, fuck, you scare me.
Why are you in my house right now?
What are you doing? What's going on? Yeah. Where it's just like, what the fuck was that? Am I going insane? Anyway, that would be the shit. Yeah, soft touch. Get a soft touch with Pennywise.
I don't have I don't night walk, or I don't sleepwalk. I don't, but I have dreams sometimes you wake up and like, you go. I asked my wife, like, was I screaming in my sleep? She's like, no. I'm like, I thought I was. I am always afraid somewhere like I'm gonna kill everybody in my sleep. And I don't sleepwalk, but sometimes you have such powerful dreams. You're like, I'm afraid. What if I wake up and I'm still dreaming? I'm like fucking stabbing my wife. I don't know. It scares me. But then I'm like, hey, camera, the video evidence. I don't sleepwalk now. If it happens, I've always been afraid of this happening. It's one of my biggest fears. So if Pennywise could make me like, that's the thing of movies. You grab Pennywise and you beat the shit out of him, and then you realize you fucking murdered your wife. Yeah. Like that's the one to like, oh, you got me, Pennywise.
Right. All right. Well,
to end it on a really good
thanks. You dick.
Go out, buy it. It's on Blu-ray. No one's paying us to say this. I really like that Pennywise stuff. It's good.
Go out and see the movie. Though I assume if you're watching this, you already did.
It's got John Ritter in it, and he's dead. And it's got the kid who plays Bill, and he's dead. And I don't know anybody else.
All right.
A lot of actors died.
It's got a
Seth
guy
Green.
plays Ben.
John Ritter.
Oh, John Ritter, yeah. John Ritter.
Oh, also, Richie is Seth Green in this, and that's why...
Is that Seth Green? It looks just like him.
He's never aged. Oh, by the way, it's a secret. Once Seth Green started this movie, he stopped aging.
Right.
That was the...
I was like, this is too old for that to be Seth Green.
No, that's why it's hard. You have a character, you think someone like Michael Keaton plays Batman. He's like, oh, someone else played Batman. Well, you kind of get over it. But Christian Bale played Batman these last times. Next time we have a Batman... Oh, wait, we had another Batman. It was Ben Affleck, and you're like, meh.
Yeah.
It feels weird when someone else takes the role. So, like, no one else can be Richie but Seth Green.
It's kind of hard to be scared of Tim Curry now that I remember Congo. And why are you eating my sesame cake?
It's funny that I don't know what you're talking about.
You need to watch Congo again.
I read Congo. I like Congo a lot. I just remember Ernie Hudson going, I ran away.
Yeah. That is a good, bad movie.
So is Fear. All right. That's going to do it for us.
I waved too soon.
Huh?
I waved too soon.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to have any movie discussions anytime. I think we did like a month of these.
Yeah, don't expect this every week.
There's nothing popping up anytime soon, I don't think.
I don't know.
But if you guys like us doing this, I mean, we wait till the 3-hour mark, however long we've been here to ask you if you want to see more.
If we do more of these, they're certainly not going to be this fucking long.
Right. Because we do our marathon podcast for horror movies. We'll keep doing those, hopefully monthly, if we can get them done, once a month. But these just come up whenever we see something that we just,
because this guy can't get out to see the movies as much
impossible.
as I can. So maybe I'll just sit in front of a camera and do what the rest of the internet does.
Yeah, and we're buying a new camera that we can actually record video on longer now, so we can do this kind of stuff more often because we've been using your camcorder, which that's why it looks a little different than our normal videos. Maybe if you noticed, this is a cheap camcorder. We're just getting a new one. So
all right, this is getting really boring.
I know. So if we want to keep doing this, let us know. Like if there's things we should do this with, because this is easy for us to do. But whatever. So good night.
Beep beep, internet.
Good one. Beep beep, internet.
You can cut this whenever you want.
I didn't bring my it puns. No puns. I love puns. Give me a pun.
That's bullshit.
That's not a pun.